closure specialist, Linda Big, is suing her ex-fiancé, 28-year-old customer service rep Roberto Rios, for punching her in the mouth, resulting in the loss of her tooth.
Now, this is case number 189 on the calendar in the matter of Big versus Rios. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Miss Big, you claim that the defendant, who was your former boyfriend, punched you in your mouth, causing you to have serious dental problems, resulting in tooth having to be extracted, false tooth put in your mouth. You're suing him for $5,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rios says he never put his hands on you, that you had prior problems with your teeth, and that he is in no way responsible for your current dental problems. Who is this gentleman?
This is my father.
Not a dentist?
No, I'm sorry.
All right. You want to tell me when this problem happened between you and the defendant?
Yes, on January 4th, 2003, we had gone to a holiday party. We had a couple of drinks. He consumed a lot of alcohol and became intoxicated. We went back to our apartment.
You were living together at the time?
Yes, we were actually engaged. We went back to the apartment. We had been arguing, and it came to a point where he became violent and he started hitting me. And we started arguing and led into the bathroom. And that's where he flushed my phone down the toilet. And I have proof showing that I had to go get a new phone.
I don't care about the phone.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that I don't care about the phone. The phone's not relevant.
Okay, and that's when the point he said that I didn't...
He flushed your phone down the toilet.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
he
then?
said he did not want me to call the police like the last time he did it. I have proof from April 7th, 2002.
January is
Yes.
where we're at. So you're having an argument, you're fighting back and forth, he goes into the bathroom, and he flushes the phone down the toilet,
Yes.
according to you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
At that point, he had left the apartment, and I had gone out to the car with him. And I had sat...
Just a second. So he flushes the phone down the toilet, and then you followed him outside?
Yes.
Why?
Because we were trying to... Well, actually, I was trying to work things out. I was trying to talk to the defendant.
So you're trying to talk to him even though he's drunk?
Well, yes.
He was leaving the house to leave?
Yes.
And you didn't want him to leave?
No.
Go ahead.
Okay, so he proceeded to the driver's side of the vehicle. He had sat in. I had sat in the passenger side. That is when he walked around to my side, hit me in my mouth right here. And I said, I think my tooth is loose. And I felt it, and I wiggled it, and it was loose.
Okay. Now, after January 4th, did you continue to live together?
We were, yes, but...
The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Until when did you live together?
It was about 3 months later that I finally moved out. We had been separated.
I'm asking you, how much after January 4th did you live together?
For approximately 3 months. It was actually at the end of March, I believe.
And when you were living together from January 4th until the end of March, did you share a bedroom?
Well, actually, I slept on the couch a few nights, and I stayed at a friend's house.
You're playing with words with me, and I don't like it. I asked you if you shared a bedroom together, and you said, well, actually, I stayed at a friend a few nights. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that either you lived together, but a couple of nights you slept out at a friend's?
Well, that was my place of residence. I had all of my belongings there, except for overnighters. We were not sharing a bed, Your Honor.
From January 4th to the end of March, you did not share a home together.
Well,
did not share a bed together, did not sleep together. Is that what you're telling me?
I had slept in the bed a couple of nights, yes. We were not talking to each other.
From January 4th to the end of March, you're telling me
yes,
that you
were not talking to each other.
You were not speaking to
yes.
each other, but living in the same home. Is
yes.
that what you're telling me?
Yes, we were living there.
Now, what happened the end of March?
Well, I had felt some discomfort in the back of my tooth because I had a tongue piercing, and I thought it was because of the piercing that was making my tooth hurt. And on April 4th, it had hurt really bad, and I put a napkin back there, and it was bleeding. So I went to the dentist, and that's when they took x-rays and told me my bone was gone.
Yes.
And I have a letter from the dentist here stating that a tooth had to be extracted because there's 2 reasons. One is periodontal disease.
I'll take a look at the...
Okay.
Is that part of your medical record?
Yes, this is...
Let me take a look at it.
My medical records are behind the letter from the dentist.
Did you take your tongue ring out?
Yes, I did. I had to.
When did you take your tongue ring out?
I took it out actually a month after. It was in February. Sometime I had to take it out because I was having a lot of discomfort in the back of my tooth. I thought it had been because of the tongue ring itself.
Well, maybe it was.
It turned out it wasn't.
Well, I don't know. How do I know that? Anyway, let me hear, Mr. Rios, your version of the events of the 4th of January, 2003.
Okay, Your Honor, to begin with, this girl has a lot of problems, and I try to deal with it.
I'm not interested in her problems, Mr. Rios. I'm not a therapist. I am a judge. Okay. I want to know what happened on January 4th, sir.
We bickered, but there was never nothing like that. I tried to leave the apartment because she got violent with me.
On January 4th?
I tried to hide in the bathroom first.
Let's go slowly.
Okay.
January 4th.
Okay, we went to a holiday party, and we both been drinking. We came home, we bickered, and Linda got a little bit heavy with me. She cornered me and was like, you're not going nowhere, you know, we're going to argue, and I'm like, I don't want to argue. Let me go in the bathroom, take a shower, we'll calm down, it'll be fine. No. She shoved her way in, locked me in. I said, whoa. I said, you need to let me go. She goes, what? She goes, I have my phone. She goes, I'll call the cops if you leave. So I took the phone, I flushed it. I'm like, no. I'm like, I am leaving. I said, you're freaking me out. She would not let me leave. She held me against my will. I finally got out of the bathroom and left the apartment because of that.
So on January 4th, you tried to leave.
I made it out. I got in my car. She forced her way in my car, kicking my door, ripping the door open. And
which door?
The driver's side.
Were you in the car already?
Yeah. She jumped in the car and attacked me in the car.
Jumped in on whose side?
On my side. She opened the door and jumped in.
On the driver's side?
Right. So I proceeded to get out the passenger side door. We got out of the car. We talked for a moment. I had to leave. I got in my car and I left. And then I'm the one who ended up moving out first. I paid the month's rent and I said, you know what? I can't be with you anymore. I can't handle your anger and your rages that you go through. And my witnesses helped me move.
Put your hand down.
The following day, 5 a.m., I called my friend. I said, I need you to help me move. This girl's really lost it. I need to get out right now. By the time Miss Big got home in the evening, I was gone.
Judge Judy continues and say Roberto Rios punched her in the mouth. Roberto says Linda has trumped up the charge.
Well, let me ask you a question, Judge. She said that you lived together till the end of March.
Oh, we shared a bed, definitely. I don't know why she's sitting there acting like we did.
Just a minute. Did she live with you until the end of March?
Well, you know, I love her. I loved her. I want to make it work.
So you went back?
Yeah.
And how long did you stay together after you moved back?
April. I moved out. Okay. I had enough.
Did you have an argument in April?
She just came home one day. I was cleaning the apartment, and she started going off on me. I'm like, you know what? That's it. Breaking point. I don't want to go through this again. The cycle was beginning all over again to where she was going to get violent with me. I don't want nothing to do with it. I told her straight up. I said, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm sorry.
So that you left either the end of March or the beginning of April?
It was around April, around that time.
Okay. You have anything to add to this?
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted to state that my daughter had no pre-existing dental condition prior to
Of course she did. She had a tongue ring.
Dental, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
She had a tongue ring. Well, tongue ring is in her mouth, is it not?
I was to
that they play like this.
No problems with her teeth. No problem with her teeth, Your Honor. As far as the rages, I've raised her for 18 years. There's never been any sign of rage. She's
well,
never been
telling you this right now, sir. She had a problem on the night of January 4th, 2003. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because he went to leave the house to get away from her. She wasn't finished talking to him yet. Do you understand? If she were frightened of him, as she seemed to indicate at the beginning, that he flushed her phone down the toilet, and she was going to call the police, then what you do is when he gets into his car to leave, you say, thank God he's leaving. Now I can call the police and change the locks. Instead, she followed him outside and continued the confrontation.
Right.
Do you understand that?
I can understand
Good.
that from a mature woman, but this is her first relationship. She's very naive. He took advantage of her. And also, as a man, I don't think there's ever an excuse for a man to strike a woman.
I don't think he did.
Okay.
I don't think he did. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling you that I don't think he did.
So the dental report that there's two instances where it could cause that type of damage to her tooth. You're disputing it, I'm saying?
No, sir. I think that it's very possible that she got hit in the mouth or that she had some trauma to the tooth at some point. I don't believe that he hit her in the mouth, causing that trauma.
Why would that be, Your Honor? I'm just inquisitive.
Why would that be?
Yes.
Very, very easy, sir. Not that I have to answer your questions.
No,
because your daughter precipitated whatever problem there was on January 4th. He was trying to extricate himself from what was potentially a volatile situation, and she would not let him do it. So I discount what she's saying to me as to the court. No, you may not. Okay. You weren't there. You're asking me, and I'm giving you the courtesy of an explanation of what I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking was, if someone is afraid that someone is violent, then when they leave, they don't follow them outside to continue the confrontation. And then not see a dentist for 3 months when she says, I think my tooth is loose. Not see a dentist for 3 months, but wait until after he leaves and says, I've had it. Then she goes to the dentist.
That's when the tooth died, Your Honor. It caused extreme pain.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. That's the reason why, sir. Your daughter is not naive, and if you were involved in her upbringing, and if she called you on January 4th and said, Rios hit me in the mouth,
if she had, Your Honor, that's correct.
Then you would have said, then you get yourself home, girl. You don't stay with him one more second. Instead, she shared a bed with him January, February, and March. Can't help you. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Party's on you. You may step up.
What you did?
I don't want her anywhere near me. She's violent, and I don't want no one like that in my life.
If I knew about this earlier, I would invite him and a couple of friends to come over, and then we'd talk about it.
And now, Realtor Susan Rathgaber is suing arborist Duff Borsity for having her falsely arrested for assault. Duff says she punched him in the face during an argument at a karaoke bar.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 239 on the calendar in the matter of Rathgaber versus Borsity. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
It is your claim that the defendant had you falsely arrested for assault.
Yes, that's right, Your Honor.
And the defendant says that you did, in fact, hit him at a bar. He had every... He had every right to call and make a complaint, and that's your problem. So why don't you tell me how you know him and when this incident took place?
The incident took place in February of this year at a nightclub around the corner from my house. I did not know Mr. Borsity from Adam at the time. When he accosted me in this bar and was trying to convince me that I should leave with him and his friend to go somewhere, as he put it, a little more exciting. At that time, he started pushing me slightly, and we were by the revolving doors, and I was afraid he was going to try and push me out the doors of the restaurant.
How was he pushing you? Show me how he was pushing you.
With his hands around my waist, and I was facing him. It was very uncomfortable. I tried to turn. As I was wearing backless shoes, I tried to turn so that I could stop myself from being pushed. And it only lasted a couple of seconds before the manager at the time yelled over for him to cut it out and take a seat, which he did. However, at the very end of the evening, Mr. Borsity again came forward and, was basically asking me, don't you want to go somewhere else? Where are we going after this? That sort of thing. And I finally had lost my patience with him, and I believe what I said to him was, the closest you're going to get to leaving this bar with me is if I kick you in the butt on your way out the door.
Okay.
At which point, he grabbed me by the shoulders, and I broke his grip and slapped him. He had twice accosted me before I slapped him.
Just a second. So he grabbed you by the shoulders.
Yes.
And you pushed his arms away and slapped him. Okay. What happened next?
After that, he became really enraged, and his arm went up, and I believe he was going to strike me. But at that time, about 3 or 4 other people stepped in and pulled him off. When they finally let go of him, the first thing he did apparently was to turn and push poor Vince into a bunch of chairs. My understanding is that he was injured. I was standing nowhere near anyone at the time. No one was restraining me, and it says in the warrant as well that...
Okay, so that's what happened. Now, you went home that night.
Yes.
Nothing else happened. There was no other contact between the two of you.
As I was leaving, a friend of mine had agreed to walk me out. Mr. Borsity and Mr. Duffy had circled back around in their truck and were waiting for me outside and approached me. Jason, who was escorting me out, said, get back in the car. We don't want any trouble. You guys have, you've caused enough trouble this evening. Don't talk to her, don't anything. And they kept walking. And that's when Vince said, my buddy just wanted to apologize. And Mr. Borsity didn't say anything even like that. But there was no altercation or anything outside. I was like, yeah, fine, whatever, it's done. Got in my car, and I went home that evening.
And the next thing that happened was?
The next thing that happened with him is that I'm basically getting out of my shower on a Saturday evening. There's a sheriff pounding on my front door, I've got a robe and a towel on my head, and I'm arrested for an assault that never happened.
What happened with that case?
Well, when we went to court, my attorney had hired a private investigator who had talked to everyone involved. But when we got to the court...
What happened to the case?
It got thrown out.
It was dismissed?
Yes, it was dismissed. They didn't even take it to trial. They said there wasn't enough evidence.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
We were in the bar, we were drinking, we were doing karaoke. She was in the bar when we arrived. As the night went on, we were talking about several conversations. There was nobody else in the bar. There was only 5 people in the bar total. This, what she said, is a lot of fiction, a lot of fiction. We were talking about the martial arts and things like that, and she basically said, in an inebriated state, that she could probably take me in a conflict. Anyway, I went to the restroom, and I came back, and then she made another derogatory comment to me about my endowment. And I told her, I said...
What did she say to you?
Well, she was talking to the other bartender, and she's looking at me, and she said, I think he probably has a small, you know. That's what she said. And I said, were you talking to me? And she, with a smirk on her face, she said, oh, no, I was talking about somebody else. And I go, whatever. And I called her. I walked away from her, right?
Why did you call her a name?
Because she was speaking to me. Because she was speaking. There was nobody else in the room, and she was smirking. And she had already, you know, said she thought she could take me in a fight, and she was acting, you know. And she'd been up. She's not a wallflower, Your Honor. She had been up doing karaoke. She had done 4 or 5 songs, you know, over the course of the evening. But anyway, make a long story short, she, as I was walking away, she said it again that, you know, I think she probably could take me in karate. And I said, well, I slapped down some money.
This was after you called her a name.
After I called her, yes. I did call her and I slapped down some money on the table, and I said, there's $5 here that says you can't, you know, that you couldn't take me.
So you challenged her to... Shh,
well, no,
please? You challenged her.
Well, I just basically said, yes, I did, I guess.
Okay.
And then Ron, the bartender here, he was bartending at the time, he witnessed it, and he said, take it outside if you're going to do anything. You know, I picked up my money and started walking away from her, and she came up behind me, tapped me on the shoulder, I turned around, she slapped me. And I looked at her and I said, what are you, crazy, right? She slapped me again. Then Vince jumped, he was on a stool, he came around, grabbed me and put my arms around me so it wouldn't go any further escalation, right? While my arms are being held like this, she punched me with a closed fist, okay? I broke free of him, that's how he got injured. When I threw him off me, he hit a table, he fell down, okay? Then she swung at me again, I grabbed her, and I put her down on the floor. And then the other bartender, her friend Jason, he came around from the back of the bar and held her while I left. And that's what happened.
This is the 4th version of this story
Just
that
a second.
he's told.
Susan Rathgaber says she was arrested when fellow bar patron Duff Borsity falsely accused her of assault. Duff says she slapped him twice and then punched him.
Now, you weren't injured.
Well, I was slapped. No, I wasn't, ma'am. I did get...
And so you went home.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You did not call the police from the bar.
No, I did not.
Did you drive yourself home immediately?
Well, no, I waited for him to come out. My roommate, Vince.
How long did you wait outside for Vince?
Probably about 5-10 minutes.
Is there any reason why you didn't call the police from the bar where there were witnesses?
He asked me to leave, and I didn't want to cause a scene there.
Who asked you to leave?
The bartender, Ron Jolly.
Okay, now step up. You know the plaintiff.
Yes, ma'am.
Before that evening, had you ever met the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you friendly with Mr. Borsky?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about the plaintiff?
She was a regular at the club probably about a year since I started working there.
Okay. Did you ever have any words with her?
No, ma'am.
Have any problems with her?
No, ma'am.
She ever become drunk and sloppy?
Once or twice, maybe, yes.
She did?
Yes.
And do you remember how much each of these 2 people had to drink that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
Both of them were pretty well intoxicated, yes.
And when the defendant left, he said he went out and got in his pickup truck. Mm-hmm. Who drove home?
That I don't know.
Who drove home?
I did, ma'am.
Drunk?
Yes, ma'am. She drove home drunk, too.
I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. I thought you lived around the corner. Did you drive home?
Yes, ma'am, I did, but I had waited in the club for about 40 minutes by the time I left. And I waited in my car with Jason for about another 20 after that. And I actually had only had 3 beverages over a 4-hour period that
I don't think that's what he's saying. Is that right?
No, ma'am. I was serving shots to both parties all night.
And they were both pretty well drunk.
Correct. And this did happen around 1:30 And when I left the bar at 2 o'clock, there was nobody outside.
Now, you want to tell me what you observed that
Yes,
night?
ma'am. They were sitting on one side of the bar over here. She was on the other side of the bar. There was conversation back across the bar. The fact of the martial arts did come up. At that point, I did take keen to the conversation because when people are drinking in a bar, a conversation like that comes up, you need to keep an eye on them. Then I did see Mr. Borsity come around. She did actually challenge him a few times, and there was a bet made. He walked around, he put money on the bar, and at that point, I told both of them to go outside. At that time, he picked the money up from the bar, put it back in his pocket. She got up from her seat, tapped him on the shoulder. As soon as he turned around, she took her open fist and slapped him right in his face. His head actually turned completely to the side.
And then what did you see?
She stepped back in an aggressive stance. She was smiling, laughing. I asked her then to grab her things and leave. She took a few steps towards him again, slapped him a second time. That's when Vince came around. He tried to hold Duffy back, and then that's when she hit him again. He took Duffy, threw him off. He went over one table, landed at the base of another table. I was getting furious. I was like, you guys need to leave right now, because then that looks bad on me because I'm not controlling the situation.
I got you. Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, that's just not the story that Mr. Borsity told the police, and it's not the story that was in his warrant that he swore out under oath.
Just a second. Let me tell you something. Both of you were drunk. The only one that wasn't drunk was him.
That's not true, in fact.
Oh, yes, it is.
No.
Oh, yes, it is. He wasn't drunk. The two of you were drunk. That's why I don't care what he swore to in the warrant. I don't care what you're telling me happened, because neither one of you have a clear picture of what happened. He has a very clear picture of what happened. Clear as a bell. I believe that you hit him.
In self-defense?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Nope. I don't. I don't believe it was in self-defense. I believe that you hit him. I don't believe that you injured him. He says you didn't injure him.
No, she didn't.
What? You still can't put your hands on somebody. You can't slap somebody twice. You can't put just because you're a girl.
Well, it was perfectly acceptable for him to push me around in a bar.
He didn't push you around at all.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. You may not like what he said to you. You may not like that he was coming on to you. Let's leave or whatever. If you didn't like what he had to say to you and you thought he was drunk or you thought he wasn't being respectful, you could have gotten in your car and gone home. You chose to stay. You chose to stay until 1 o'clock in the morning. So nothing that he said to you was that offensive because the place wasn't hopping with a whole bunch of other people. I believe that you put your hands on him first. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. She made it out like she was a little wallflower. She's a rough chick.
His own two stories to the police and on his warrant didn't match what he just told the judge.
She's a liar, and she got just what she deserved, and I'm glad I won. Judge Judy was right on.
And now the next case.
All parties.
$1,400. Like she said, most of the money was pre-sold. Most of the tickets were pre-sold. I think there was only about 30 people that paid at the door cash. She had sold tickets, hard tickets, to her customers. She also claimed that there would be hundreds of people at the show.
She said, it's not your turn to speak yet. All I want to know is how much money you made, Miss Schmidt, that night.
That evening we got $150 in cash from Eric.
I didn't ask you how much you got from Eric. I asked you how much you made.
$450 plus the $150, so around $600.
So you didn't lose any money?
No, we did lose the money. We lose the money that he kept.
Ms. Schmidt, you paid him $400 to rent the room. You ended up at the end of the day making more than $400. Is that right?
Okay. Yes.
Then you didn't lose any money. What you're claiming is because he closed the club early, we'll get to the reason in a moment, you could have made a lot more.
Okay.
Now, do we understand each other?
That's correct.
The thrust of the complaint is, other than the other stuff that you complain about, that he had people at the door, that he was watching who was coming into the place, and he was collecting money rather than you collecting the money. I mean, you have all that as a complaint. The reason that Mr. Rabinowitz shut down your club was what?
There were several reasons why I shut the
Look at me. Don't look at your paper.
Okay, sorry. There were several reasons why I shut the club down early. But the main gist of it was that her employees and staff were caught using drugs by the head of tobacco and liquor of Fort Collins, Colorado.
So the police came.
The police came, and then these people proceeded to be extraordinarily rude to the police and to me and my staff.
The police came?
Absolutely. Several times.
Why?
Because...
Is that usual? Look at me. Is that usual when you run an event?
No.
Was it the event particularly loud?
No.
Then why would they come?
I think it was twofold. One was, it was a rave, and there's a certain...
What's a rave? I don't know what a rave is.
I think Tiffany would be better at answering that question than I do, since, you know, she's the rave master. I'm just a...
What's a rave, please?
Actually, a rave is an all-night event, pretty much, where DJs come in and play different types of house and trance music, and kids dance to it.
The police came because this was scheduled to be an all-night event.
Not all night, but till 3:30, yes.
Well, that's pretty late.
That's pretty late.
To me, that's...
Depends what city you're in, but this particular music, I agree with you fully.
Any music. You've got to do a lot more than dance and play an
When you're a club owner,
keep me up till
you want
3:30
money, you
in the
want
morning.
people in there drinking, you know?
Don't talk over me. It's irritating, and I'm old. Do you know the people who were caught using marijuana?
I don't personally, but I know their names, and I
marijuana. Paraphernalia and marijuana were confiscated. Both subjects were issued summonses. It says that the police contacted the owner of the Starlight, Mr. Rabinowitz, and advised him that at least 2 persons who had been inside his establishment and were with the promoters were contacted and charged with possession of marijuana. After hearing that information, Rabinowitz chose to ask the persons to leave the Starlight and ask the show to end. And he's absolutely right. Why should he risk them coming back and finding more people inside with drugs? What?
They searched multiple people inside the venue and they didn't find any drugs or paraphernalia.
Let me tell you something, sir. All they had to find was another handful. 1 or 2. And they can destroy his business. You have no right to let that happen. What are you complaining about? He's got a business to protect.
Our complaint, Your Honor, is that he was going to shut us down before this incident even happened.
Well, do you think that there was a... Listen, let me ask you this question. What possibly could be his motive for doing that?
In my personal opinion, I would say his motive was that the evening was a 16 and up show. His bar sales were not high because of the fact that most people were under 21, and he wanted to close it down because he wasn't getting the amount of money that he had expected.
That was promised. I was promised a certain amount of people by the promoter, and they didn't show up, so she's basically putting it on me for being a poor promoter and a poor worker and entrepreneur. You know, I put shows on all the time, 7 a week, and I have 100 people in my club every Saturday night, and there was about 122 people on that night. I mean, all I have to do is open the doors for 100 people to show up. So obviously...
So what's the drinking age at your...
21.
21. Oh, yeah. And you say there were a lot of people there that were under 21.
Yes.
So they couldn't drink.
That's right.
But they could use drugs.
No.
But
We searched people at the door.
They did use drugs. You want to be promoters? You got to be careful that your people who are employed by you, people who are around underage people, don't have drugs, whether it be marijuana or ecstasy or pills or quaaludes or anything else, because if you do, the possibility exists that you're going to lose money. So you have no case, Ms. Schmidt, nor Mr. Schmidt. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Oh, just a second. I have a countersuit. Are you serious about your countersuit, or you want to say goodbye, countersuit?
I would love to just get that out of here.
Perfect.
He came up, he said, everything's fine, the club looks great, you guys are doing wonderful, and about 2 minutes later he would come up freaking out about something.
I tried to pull him off.
If anyone was on drugs, it was him.
Well, he did disappear a few times and come back very irritated, but I tried to pull him off the side and explain that they did have a contract with Planet Fleur, which is peace, love, unity, and respect, and that he needed to follow his contract. And he basically said the contract doesn't mean anything. No, he did say the contract didn't mean anything to him anymore. If it didn't go his way, he was going to close him down.
Technician Alicia Sexton for assaulting her with a bottle. Alicia says Larcita was having an affair with her boyfriend. She is countersuing for vandalism to her car.
Yeah, this is case number 98 on the calendar in the matter of McIntosh versus Sexton. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
A fight over a man. How stupid can you get? And where is this man that we were all fighting over?
Are you asking me, Judge?
Anybody will answer my question.
Oh, he's incarcerated at the present time. Great. He's not really the reason why we're here, though. He was irrelevant to this.
No, he's not irrelevant, but for the fact that each of you were related to him in some way by affection. You wouldn't be here. Is that right?
Oh, I don't know what she had going with him, but I know he respected me. So I don't know exactly what she had going with him.
All right, Ms. McIntosh, it's your claim that Ms. Sexton assaulted you.
Yes.
She assaulted you with a bottle. You were seriously injured. According to you, you wanted to pay for that. You were briefly involved with the defendant's boyfriend. You didn't know that he had a girlfriend, according to you.
Yes.
And anyway, somehow that escalated. You're going to tell me the story. Ms. Sexton said that she acted in self-defense, that you picked up a bottle first to hit her. She got the bottle out of your hand, and so she popped you with the bottle. This was really a brawl. She says in her counterclaim that you damaged her car on 2 separate occasions and that she wants you to pay for her legal fees that she spent in defending these assault charges. So that's your counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently pregnant, Ms. Sexton?
Yes, I am.
And the father of this child is the person who is currently incarcerated?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any other children with him?
No, ma'am.
Did you become pregnant after you found out that he was fooling around with an underage person?
Well, actually,
Just answer my question. That's either yes or no.
Well, yes.
Another testament to your good judgment. How old are you?
18.
How old are you, Miss Sexton?
I'm 27.
You have children?
No.
Okay, Miss McIntosh, let's hear it.
On August 18, 2002, I had my sister take me to a friend's house to retrieve a necklace I left over there.
What time?
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Go ahead. I must be living in another culture.
So, as I was inside of the residence...
What do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
What day of the week was August 18th?
A Sunday.
What do you do during the summer?
Nothing.
Why?
Because I'm a student. I go to school right now.
You were going to school in August of 2002?
School hasn't started yet.
So what were you doing?
Nothing.
Didn't you ever hear of working?
Huh? Yes.
That's what most 17-year-olds do during the summer when they're not in school. That keeps them out of trouble, so that they're not out at 2 o'clock in the morning going to retrieve a necklace. You're her friend?
I'm her sister.
Sister. I won't even ask what you were doing, because you're older than 18?
Yes.
So you were on your way to retrieve a necklace at 2 o'clock in the morning from a friend's house. And what happened?
While I was inside of the residence, the defendant...
Inside of what residence?
My friend's house.
Who's your friend?
My boyfriend.
Oh, so that's the boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a girlfriend's house you were going over
No.
to. Your sister was taking you over to your boyfriend's house to get a necklace that you had allegedly left there. Is that right?
Yes.
Who did he live with?
His mother.
Is she normal?
Yes.
What do you think some normal person would think of a young 17-year-old popping by at 2 o'clock in the morning?
She was asleep.
So what happened when you got there?
While I was inside of the residence, the defendant, Alicia Sexton...
Just a second. You were inside with the boyfriend?
Yes.
How long had you been there inside?
Like 3 minutes.
And where was your sister?
Outside in a car waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Your Honor, that's not.
I don't want to hear
Okay.
it yet. So you're inside with the boyfriend at his mother's house at 2 o'clock in the morning. And?
And the defendant came in, Alicia Sexton walked in with my friend's little brother. She came in and she asked me what my name was. I replied, Sita, and she struck me upside the head with a bottle. I then fell, she got on top of me or whatever and started hitting me. My friend broke it up or whatever.
You're talking in terms of this boyfriend?
Yes.
Who's in jail?
Yes.
He broke it up?
Yes.
Go ahead.
As I ran outside, Alicia came after me. She had the bottle in her hand. She threw it at me, but it missed me. And then she got on top of me. When she slammed me, she got on top of me again. That's when my friend and my sister came over there, and they broke the fight up. My sister didn't rush me to emergency. I had 11 stitches. I got cut 2 different spots, 8 up here and 3 down here. I have pictures.
Let me see. Okay. Let me hear your version of the events, Miss Sexton.
Actually, Judge, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on my way over to pick my boyfriend up. We lived together. He was at his mother's house while I was at the casino.
What were you doing there?
I was gambling.
Now, you and this boyfriend lived together?
Yes, we lived at my home.
Who else lives there?
Just me and him.
How long have you been living there?
We've been living together for about 4 years now.
Go ahead.
This is actually a housing project where I was picking him up from. When I pulled up outside, I seen this young lady run in the house. She wasn't already in the house. She was outside with a bunch of people. I was not even aware of this girl, who she was, didn't know what she looked like or anything. She ran in the house, at which time his little brother showed up, and I went in the house with him. Well, he was trying to push her out the back door at the time, my boyfriend. She wouldn't go. So I said, who are you? And she said, I'm Sita. And I said, oh, you came to my house and busted out my car windows. Because she had already came to my house before on an incident prior to this and did damage to my vehicle.
How do you know that?
I have police reports with witnesses that seen her do it.
Well, you never filed any charges with regard to that.
I tried to file charges for the destruction of property in that case, ma'am. Yes, I did.
Do you have any witnesses here that saw her do it?
No, but it's in the police report.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. She and Alicia Sexton had a physical brawl over a man. Larcita says Alicia hit her in the face with a bottle.
So, at the time you saw her and she told you her name.
Right.
According to you, then you knew who she was.
Then I knew who she was.
You had never called her before.
No.
Because she says you called her house a year
No,
before.
ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I called her mother prior to that.
Thank you. Well, that's what I want to know. You called her mother.
But not her.
What? Don't play with me.
Right. I called her mother.
What did you say to her mother?
I asked her mother, was she aware that her daughter had called me and told me she was having intimate relations with my grown boyfriend that was of age and he shouldn't be having intimate relations with her, and that if he was...
So she called you?
She called my house first to tell me of this relationship she was having with him. And so at the time, I was trying to get this resolved because she was underage and I'm grown. And so the mother said that, no, her daughter was just lying, and her daughter told me this, that her daughter was just trying to make me mad.
When did her daughter tell you this?
She had to be about 15, maybe 16 then.
So you did speak to her on the phone?
Yes, she called my home. I didn't call her house.
So then she called you and you spoke to her?
Yeah, and then I, in return, called her mother to see what was going on. And so when I did call her mother said she was just trying to make me jealous. I told her mother that her daughter told me that she was having relations with him and that he was too old to have relations with her, and if that was really the deal, that I wanted to know.
Okay. The boyfriend is trying to push her out the back door because you're coming in the front door, and what happened?
Like I said, I was coming to where they were standing. She was standing right behind him. I asked her, who was she? I wasn't even aware of who this girl was at that time.
Well, what did you say to her?
I said, you came to my house and busted out my car windows, and she said, you know, real cocky or whatever, and she said, I'm Sita. And I said, oh, and we started a physical confrontation at that point.
So before you asked who she was, you said to her, you came to my house and broke out my car window.
Right.
So you knew who she was.
No,
Don't play, Miss Sexton, that's what you just said.
I didn't know who she was by her looks. I just figured that was her because she made her presence appearance when I pulled up.
Listen to me. You just said to me that when you walked into their house, you said to her, you broke out my car windows.
After she said that she was Sita.
No, that's not what you just told me
that's
2
what
seconds
I meant to
ago.
say. That's how it went.
You knew who she was.
Well, I kind of had an idea when she made herself present.
Let's not play with each other.
But I didn't know
I don't
who
have
she
time.
was.
I'm speaking. Don't try to talk over me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so at that time, we started a physical confrontation.
Look at my eyes. What do you mean at that time we started a physical confrontation?
We started fighting.
Somebody always starts fighting first. So give me a step-by-step of what happened.
I asked her, like I said, who she was. She told me who she was. And at that time, I said, you came to my house and you broke out my car windows. And she said, yeah, I did. And what you going to do about it?
And?
So we started fighting.
So you showed her what you were going to do about it.
We fell on a coffee table, and the coffee
so
table
you
got
hit her.
broke.
So you hit her.
We were fighting each other.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I landed the first punch or she did.
Miss Sexton, you know everything else. You know what you said. You know what the boyfriend said. You know about the little brothers. You know everything else. But you can't tell me who hit who first.
Well, we started fighting at that point.
Okay. Well, if you don't know who hit who first. Did she hit you first?
She hit me with the bottle.
Well, since you don't remember, babe.
I didn't hit her with the bottle.
Listen to me. Since you don't remember, I have to assume that she remembers. If you just said to me, I don't remember, then I conclude that you hit her first. Because if you don't remember, and one person says I remember, and logically it makes sense to me that, you would hit her.
I hit her with the bottle, and I did not.
Well, I don't care what you hit her with.
We fell on a coffee table, a glass coffee table, and broke it, Your Honor.
Well, let me tell you something, madam. If the fight started because you hit her first, and in self-defense she reacted, you are still liable. And I have no idea why the police dismissed these charges against you.
They never even came and spoke to me.
Well, that's some police department. You are responsible for her injuries. Since you don't remember, and she does, you're responsible. You had hospital bills? In what amount?
My hospital bills came up to, like $730.
And was there an insurance deductible?
I don't care whether there was or whether there wasn't.
Medicaid?
She's suing. I'm speaking.
And that's for why the case was dismissed.
Can I see it, please?
I think the hospital bill and back of the police report.
Oh, it was dismissed on a speedy trial motion. Is that right?
Yep.
So the DA didn't move fast enough.
Yes, that's correct. That was the only reason.
They must be very busy in Douglas County, Nebraska. You're suing her for $2,000 for both the medical bills and your pain and suffering. You are entitled to that. So on your complaint, I am going to award you $2,000. Ms. Sexton, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim states that she damaged your car. You have proof of that?
In the police reports, the police spoke to the witnesses.
And that's the only proof that you have?
Well, in that I seen her actually bust my window out at one time.
I don't believe that, because if you had seen her busting out your car window, then you would have put that in your answer and in your counterclaim. You chose not to do that, and even the person who you brought with you was shaking her head no. Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
No, it's incorrect.
Oh, yes, she saw her bust out her window?
Yes, I did.
Oh, how come it's not in the answer that you put here, madam?
Caused damages to my vehicle on 8/17 and 7/13. It is in there. She caused damages.
No.
I've seen
You
that.
didn't tell me that you observed it.
If I may.
Step up. Who are you?
I'm her mother.
Did you observe her? Did you
I
make...
did not observe her. She has a protection order against me, and I have one against them also. The first time that her windows got broken out at her home, she called me at 5:30 in the morning. I went up there. I looked at her caller ID. She said that the girl had been harassing her all night.
There's no question in my mind that this 17-year-old girl
got infatuated.
Be quiet.
Yeah, your judgment's not terrific, Miss Sexton. Your mother can attest to that, isn't that right?
On some things, yes.
There's no question in my mind that this 17-year-old girl was strung along by this person currently incarcerated, soon to be a father. There's no question that she acted inappropriately for a 17-year-old or for a 27-year-old or for a 15-year-old. Your daughter is supposed to be older and smarter.
And I called her parents, the 17-year-old's parents, at that time. Spoke to the father first. The father told me that she was out of control, that yes, she was out all night, that they didn't know where she was, that's what's a curfew.
She's out of control.
She was supposed to be on a curfew at the time, ma'am.
Put yourself down.
Well, anyway, I asked them, I said, well, can you do something with her? She can't keep coming up here, calling here, breaking out windows, causing all this damage. Something's going to happen, and one of them are going to end up getting hurt eventually. Later that day, her mother called my house, told me that I was going to bury my daughter with my other dead daughter. And I said, if anything happens to my daughter, your daughter's the one coming up here. So I went back and forth.
What does this have to do with car windows?
It just kept going back and forth.
Listen to me. What does this have to do with car windows?
The damage is excessive,
she was coming
and
to my
kept
home.
doing it, and she kept coming to her home. My daughter never went to her home, never called her, anything.
Listen to me. In all probability, she did it. Just give me proof.
Well, the only proof I have is the witnesses that are in the police reports, ma'am.
I can't use that, madam.
Well, I did ask if I could bring notarized statements or anything. They said no. Right. So,
No, you could bring witnesses.
Well,
these are older people that own businesses and couldn't come.
Then I can't help you.
And then at the housing project that night, the mother of the defendant told her do not break out her windows because they were threatening to, and she saw her break it out.
Tell me what you saw.
I'm going to tell you what exactly happened. We had a confrontation in the house. At that time, we went outside, and she didn't rush to no hospital. We went outside and fought 3 more times before she left.
Yes.
To tell you the truth. She didn't rush to no hospital.
Keep going.
The first time that they broke it up, she went outside and she was all mad and everything. So at that time, she was outside. She bust my window out with a baseball bat.
Just don't give me a long explanation. I want you to look through the police report and you tell me if anywhere in the police report you told the police that you saw her with your eyes break out your car window. Take a moment and look through the police report.
I already know
and
what
let
the
your
police
mother
report
help you.
says.
Put your hand down. I'm not interested in you.
I know what the police report says.
No.
I did no. In the police report, no, I didn't. The police never showed up that night. They never came. That's why I was unable to tell them that.
At any place in the police report from the next day, 2 days later, 3 days later, because they add on to police reports, you know, when you make additional reports, any place does it say that you told the police that you saw her break out your car window?
No, it doesn't.
Sorry, can't help you. Miss McIntosh, reluctantly, I am awarding you what you are requesting, which is $2,000, because you were, in fact, assaulted by Miss Sexton, and I believe that she threw the first punch. But I think that you probably were out of control, smitten with a loser who happens now to belong, at least temporarily, to Miss Sexton when he gets finished belonging to the state of Nebraska. Is your last name Sexton?
No.
What is your last name?
Buckley.
Miss Buckley, your daughter has made some serious errors in judgment. And I would hope that now that she's going to have a child, you try to inculcate into her some responsibility.
That was his judgment. I don't.
No, it was your judgment, Miss Sexton. It was your judgment to get yourself hooked up with and get pregnant by somebody who
that respected me, that I didn't know anything about disrespecting me.
Oh, save me. Bird, get him outside.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just think that it's very sad when a young girl gets infatuated.
You know she was in the wrong. She wasn't going to call the cops.
And she just had to learn that she couldn't come to my house and tear up my property.
Hey, if I had a bet, I would have hit her with it.
She should have been somewhere with a young man in school somewhere doing some school things instead of with grown folks.
I was a minor. She was 27. No, she wasn't going to call the cops.
She'll learn. Maybe this will be a learning process.
Hardison versus Jarvis. Step forward.
Crystal Hardison is suing fellow motorist Robert Jarvis for vandalizing her Ford Explorer by kicking it. Crystal claims her mother witnessed the incident.
Miss Hardison, what kind of car do you drive?
It's a 2005 Ford Explorer.
What about you, Mr. Jarvis?
95 Mitsubishi Galant.
What was the date of this incident?
June 2nd.
And you were going into a drugstore to get a prescription filled?
Exactly.
And what were you going to do there, Mr. Jarvis?
I was pulling in to get her, my fiance, a drink and a candy bar.
Was she with you?
Yes.
And you were both going to the same store, so you pulled in first?
Yes.
And it is your claim that Mr. Jarvis intentionally not only spit on your car, but also dented it?
Yes.
Mr. Jarvis says, not intentionally, but he certainly did. It was with you?
Exactly. And my 11-month-old son.
Well, he's not here to testify, but your mother certainly is. When you went into the store, Miss Hardison, your mother remained in the car?
Exactly.
And when you went into the store, did your fiancé remain in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
She pulled in first.
She was already parked.
Tell me what she was doing, Mr. Jarvis.
Well, as I was pulling in, I was waiting on her for about 2 to 3 minutes while she was brushing her hair with the door open in the parking place.
So you were waiting to pull in because she had the big door open for this SUV, brushing her hair?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you waiting?
2 to 3 minutes tops.
Did you honk the horn?
No, I was just sitting there waiting to get in, being patient.
Why were you brushing your hair?
I'm pretty vain. So before I go anywhere, I always put my makeup on, brush my hair.
You were going to pick up a prescription?
Exactly. And that's my nature. If I'm going to a local store, I'll put clothes on, do my hair, and put my makeup on.
Hadn't you done all that before you went in?
I sure did,
Before you
but
got
I just
into the
wanted
car?
to make sure everything was straight.
Didn't you see Mr. Jarvis waiting for you?
At the time that I opened my door to get my brush out my purse, no, I didn't.
But there came a time when you did see him waiting for you.
I saw a front end of a car behind mine, yes.
And you continued to finish brushing your hair and then you put the brush back?
No. Once I saw the front end of the car, I said, oh, he's waiting. And I closed my door and went directly into CVS.
What happened when you came out?
I got to my driver's side door and I saw there was spit on the window. I opened my door. I said, Mom, somebody spit on my window. And she can tell you the rest.
Step up, please. What is your last name?
Durante.
Tell me what happened that day on the 2nd of June in the parking lot.
Okay, on the 2nd of June, my daughter had to go to the pharmacist to pick up a prescription. And she got out of the car, opened the passenger side.
That's we got past the fact that she was brushing her hair to make sure she looked perfect.
Okay.
Never know who you're going to meet in the pharmacy.
Exactly.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Crystal came out. She says, Mom, who spit on my car? I said, don't worry. I got his tag number. I was sitting in the car on the passenger side watching an incident on Route 1 to my right, and I see this man walk up to the car and just cover the window with spit. I said, I'm going to get his tag number. I went to get my purse. When I went down to get my purse, the whole car just like, yes. I looked up, I saw him, I heard his door, bam, slam. He was going, he closed his door and walked behind his car and got into the driver's side.
Okay, so a passenger door slam, and then he walked around to get into the driver's side?
Yes.
And the passenger side door was where your car was?
Yes.
Got it. Now, do you have any proof of damage to your car?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Because, Mr. Jarvis, I'm going to save you the trouble, sir. According to your answer, you were having sinus problems that day, so
Yes,
you
ma'am.
spit.
Yes.
You don't know where it landed.
No, I didn't have no intention of spitting on a vehicle. No.
It was just a bad sinus.
Yes. I had sinuses all
And
like that.
you caused no damage to the plaintiff's car.
Absolutely not.
Now I'd like to see the... Okay. See, I'm going to save you all that trouble.
Your car's green.
My car's green.
But your boot isn't damaged.
And besides, my car door don't go that high.
It may not have been your car, sir.
And I was never on that side of the vehicle. I was driving.
Mr. Jarvis, what you're asking me to do is to say to this lady that she's lying. Now, common sense, which is really what we're about here, suggests to me that you were annoyed at this young lady.
No, actually, I was patient.
Well, you are the only one I know who, under those circumstances, wouldn't be annoyed. I would be infuriated.
But to be cussed and belligerent...
Just a minute. I would be infuriated if I was sitting there patiently and somebody was not just putting a baby in a car, because that you wait for, you know, adjusting a car seat or whatever, but somebody standing there with an open door, primping and brushing their hair while I'm waiting to get into a parking space would rile that out of me. I can't even tell you what it would do to my husband.
Can I speak to one?
Sure.
Can I have her come up?
If you want to.
I'd just like to say that night when the police contacted us, the only thing that they said was that he spit on the window. When he called back to the police department, the police officer said that this was ridiculous and dropped it. 30 days later, we received it stating that there was damage. Why that night? Was there no record at the police department?
I have no idea. Maybe they couldn't see it.
And she drove all the way home and the spit stayed on the window?
Listen to me.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Does she listen to me? my
Free
dear.
money. That's
I'm
what they're
speaking.
trying to get.
Does she look psychotic to you? No, listen to me. Not the daughter who was primping, who has to comb her hair before she goes to pick up a prescription. I'm talking about her mother.
I'm going to tell you, I'm a nurse. People are psychotic all the time and they don't
Listen to me. Well, listen. I've been around twice as long as you have. This lady is not psychotic. This lady did not take down your tags and report this matter to the police because she was having a psychotic episode. That's my judgment. Now, let me see how much it costs to fix your car.
Okay. I have two estimates.
You have a 10-year-old car.
$578 for Windex is a little ridiculous.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Windex.
There's no dent caused by him. That is definite.
That's just trying to get free money, is what it is.
I never got out that car, so nobody was ever on that side of the car at any point. I was in that passenger side of that car.
Nobody suggested that you did any damage to the car, madam. Cheaper of the estimate is $369.80. Is that right?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $369.80. That's all.
Parties are excused when they step out. Parties are excused when they step out.
Maybe he was just having a bad... I don't have an answer for his actions.
People were just trying to get free money for something I didn't do.
He was angry. Like my daughter said, something else had to be going on that day other than Crystal combing her hair.
Anything damage was done on the side of the car, I would have had to gotten out.
I'm just appalled. I really am. I don't know how they sleep at night.
Yeah.
Smith, step forward. 20-year-old Robert Aiken is suing his ex-fiancée, 22-year-old Cheryl Smith, for unpaid bills and late fees. Cheryl claims Robert is obsessed with her.
Mr. Aiken, Miss Smith was your fiancée for a period of time. I assume you lived together for a period of time. And it is your claim that you put some money into her checking account in order to pay some bills.
Correct.
You broke up, and she put a stop payment on the bills you had paid. Well done?
Yeah, she did it online. She stopped all payments.
I don't understand how you do that. I like that little checkbook. You write it out, you deposit it. I don't understand the online stuff, but you want that money back.
Correct.
Ms. Smith said nothing could be farther from the truth. You put money into the account. You did pay bills with the money you put into the account. You started to pay some more bills with money that you hadn't put into the account, so she put a stop payment on those bills. She has a counterclaim. She says that at some point immediately preceding your breaking up, she covered the entire rent because you were short, so that you owe her for rent. And in addition, and more importantly, she says that since the breakup, you've been involved in some serious harassment. So the money part should be relatively easy. How much money did you put into her account?
Total, 2 checks of $420 and $316.84, so $736.84.
When?
The $420 was put in on August 12th, and the $316.84 was put in August 11th.
When had you covered the rent, Ms. Smith?
I wrote the check on August 1st.
And how much was the rent?
$662.70.
Was it your responsibility to pay the rent?
We both paid the rent. It was joint money.
Immediately prior to the 11th of August, when did you make your preceding deposit in her bank account?
I would give her cash when I got my check because she was writing all the checks for bills. So I would just cash and stuff of that nature. I have no proof of it. Sorry. I'm a hand person.
Now, he put in the $736. What bills did he pay with it?
Well, my counterclaim is I have bills that total $548.44 that I paid for him, in addition to the rent for $662.70.
It wasn't like a split right down the middle. We were
Well,
just
it should be. It's all sounding very good for Miss Smith, Mr. Aiken. What I want to know is, did she make payments for you in the amount of $548? To whom?
She made certain bills.
To whom?
There was a $200 payment to his father.
That was to your father.
That's correct.
What, do you owe him money?
A car payment. It's in his name.
Go ahead.
$63.94 for his Comcast bill.
Uh-huh.
I also have penalties in which I was charged in order to stop the 3 payments that he was unauthorized to make.
Just a second. I want to know what the payments were that you made, not the fees. The payments were that you made.
And without the penalties, there were bills totaling $196 made prior.
Made prior to when?
Prior to August 1st for him.
Forget it. You paid $263 that you can account for, not $548. You know, you look like butter with melt in her mouth. You know, you keep turning it around, and she becomes a more interesting character. 736 minus 263, $473. That's what's left over. Now, we're going to say that he owes you half for the rent, because that's part of your counterclaim. So we're going to take off $330 from that. $143 you owe him. You got it?
Now, what about the payments that she stopped, though?
Good, she stopped them. Good, she should stop them. $143. Gets expensive when you play house. Now I want to hear about the harassment, because that troubled me. You say that he called you over 100 times in a short period of time?
That is correct.
Let me see. Why do you keep calling her, Mr. Aiken?
There were different occasions equaling up to it. I was trying to call her in the beginning to try to get some of the money without going to court. And then from time to time, she would be like, okay, well, I'll pay you something. And she'd be like, well, let's meet up here. And say at 1 o'clock, it'd be like 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I'd call her. She'd be like, yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. So it's just different phone calls basically trying to resolve this money issue.
Well, but I'm looking at it.
It's just continuous.
For instance, I'm looking on the 23rd of August after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18 calls, one right after another.
That would just, as far as that was
Were you leaving messages on her machine?
No, I didn't leave voicemails. I left, I think, maybe one voicemail. The rest were she'd pick up the phone and then she'd hang it up, and I'd try to get back to her and talk to her, trying to...
She doesn't want to talk to you.
I understand that.
Well, but when do you start getting that message, Mr. Aiken, that she doesn't want to talk to you? If, according to you, she picks up the phone and hangs up, she doesn't want to talk to you.
I was just trying to get money, like I said, with these bills,
You
the credit
kept
cards,
annoying
and
her.
cell phones. When the payments got stopped,
You
they shut off
kept
the cell
annoying
phone.
her. Since August, have there been any further calls?
Not since the personal protection order was issued.
Okay, do you have a copy of that?
Absolutely.
Let me see. Was it a permanent order or a temporary order?
It holds for 1 year.
So you consented to this, sir?
Yeah.
Well, if you consented to it, of necessity, the judge had to say to you, you're entitled to a trial, right?
Yeah, we showed up and had a hearing.
Oh, you had a hearing, so the judge found you guilty of harassing her.
Yeah, I told him the story, and I told him the phone calls, and he gave it to
Okay, but after that, you stopped.
her. Yeah, I have not contacted her since.
Anything else you want to tell me about your counterclaim, Ms. Smith?
Yes. As far as for the harassment, this has seriously been going on for a long time. Numerous phone calls and numerous times showing up at my place of employment, numerous times threatening my child, numerous times threatening me. He's physically assaulted me.
After he physically assaulted you, did you remain in the relationship?
No.
When, according to you, was the first time that he physically became violent with you?
On August 7th.
So that was about the time that you were breaking up?
That is correct.
Okay, so this wasn't a history, as you indicated?
No.
Fine. And what did he do to you on the 7th?
On the 7th, he shoved me into a wall and left me captive in the closet of our apartment until I had talked to him.
I don't understand that.
Our closet is a small room. I was in there actually packing some clothes, and he stood in the doorway and refused to allow me to leave.
So he kept you captive there?
Correct.
Because he wanted to talk to you?
Correct.
He's over it. You get over it. He's finished, right?
Correct.
Going to stay away from her? Going to get you $148?
Correct.
Leave her alone?
Without question.
You made a bad choice. Put a period. Move on. Counterclaim is dismissed. That's fine.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 357 on the calendar in the matter of Richmond versus Gilbert. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am.
According to your complaint, Dr. Richmond, you retained Miss Gilbert's services because you were interested in publishing a book.
That is correct.
And she had, well, you had heard she had had some expertise in assisting people to get their works published. You gave her approximately $2,500, and it is your claim that she really defrauded you because she was not working solely in your best interest. You want not only your money back, but you want twice that amount of money as punitive damages. So I have a few questions before we get into this. Had you written a book?
Yes, I did.
And the subject?
It was called The Healing Field, a story about myself, a psychiatrist, and one of my patients who was dying from anorexia. Only when I got out of the box of my traditional training did my patient start to heal.
How long did it take you to do the book?
About 5 years.
And what brought you to Miss Gilbert?
I was at a publishing event in 2003, and the defendant was one of many experts that presented that day, and she said that she could help me get my book published.
How much was Miss Gilbert's fee?
Her fee was $150 for an hour of coaching over the phone.
And what kind of things did she coach you about?
Well, she talked about having a branding, who I was going to be. She told me about this fantastic opportunity to be a co-author in a book along with big names such as Dr. Phil, Deepak Chopra, and Wayne Dyer. And I would need to pay $5,000 to, under a tight deadline, write a chapter in the book. So then in October of 2004, I wrote a check for $5,000, sent it to the publisher, Linda, and then 2 weeks later...
The publisher is not Linda. What's the name of the publisher of this book?
Her name is Linda, and her corporate
company, yeah,
logo is Mentors Publishing House.
Never heard of them.
Neither had I.
So what'd you write him a check for $5,000 for, Dr. Richmond?
Well, at the time...
Doctors are notoriously bad businessmen, sir.
It was a good sale to be associated with these big-name authors.
Yeah, but you got to do your own due diligence, Dr. Richmond. You know, if somebody said, I'm doing an ensemble work with Dr. Phil and some other notable people, you would think that this ensemble work would be published by somebody that you would heard of.
Well, there was 2 other books, so they had a track record of putting out 2 books
2 books?
Previously. Correct.
In how many years?
I'm not sure exactly.
So in their whole history as a publishing house, all you knew of was 2 books they had published?
Correct. But there were celebrities in the first 2 editions.
Like who?
Zig Ziglar.
I never heard of her.
Donald Trump is in the 3rd edition. So it sounded really good.
What 3rd edition?
Well, this book that I was enticed to be a part of.
Has it been published?
It just came out in the last couple of weeks.
Is that right?
Yes. In fact, Judge Judy, would you like a copy of it? I've autographed
I'd just like to look at it. I don't want a copy. I have enough to read. By the way, in case you want a picture of Zig Ziglar, this is what he looks like.
That's him.
All right, so you sent $5,000 into this publisher. Go ahead, what happened?
I wrote the chapter, Then in late January, early February 2005, there were some changes in the publication and a delay in when the book was coming out. I started to get uncomfortable with the changes that were happening.
Like what changes?
Instead of 40 authors, there was going to be 70 authors. Chuck Norris was going to be on the cover of the book. He's not in alignment with the work that I do. And then on February 7th, I discovered that the defendant, my coach, was not only getting compensation from me, but also from Linda, the publisher. In exchange for bringing people in, she would get to write the foreword and have her picture on the cover of the book. And that was in an email that I only discovered February 7th. She never disclosed this to me. I was shocked. My confidence in her began to evaporate.
Did you have to pay $5,000 to get into this book?
I did not.
And the reason you didn't have to pay $5,000 to get into this book is because you brought other clients into the book?
Right, the relationship.
Just a second.
Yes.
My questions, your answers. Did you at any time tell Dr. Richmond that you were involved as a co-author in this project, but that you were being compensated in part for bringing in other prospective authors?
Yes.
When did you tell him that?
At the inception of the discussion of whether he would come in or not, because one of the questions that they had was whose picture would be on the front, and at that time, the publisher had offered that my picture would be in that larger space there on the cover.
That doesn't answer my question. You can write a chapter, but if everybody who's writing a chapter pays $5,000, and in exchange for your bringing in other authors, you were getting a free ride, my question is, did you tell that to Dr. Richmond?
I did not state it in those words.
Well, those are the words that you should have used, Ms. Gilbert.
If I could clarify one thing for Judge Judy, though, the $5,000 fee is not a fee. He made a commitment to purchase 1,000 copies.
There's no difference between buying 1,000 copies and paying $5,000 to get in, because it all goes to the publisher. They are at least assured of 1,000 copies, and if they get 70 authors to each contribute $5,000, that means that they have guaranteed themselves 70,000 copies of the book being sold, which guarantees them a spot on some list that says we've already sold 70,000 copies, and therefore you should read this book. That's sort of a no-brainer.
It's
right,
marketing.
Ms. Gilbert?
Absolutely, it's marketing.
So that wasn't explained to him, that the $5,000 is that you can get 1,000 copies of this book. You don't have 1,000 friends. What you're going to do is you're going to take pieces of your library. You put 500 in one house and 500 in another house, and some in the kitchen and some in the living room. I've written books, I know. I got stacks of them all over my house. Some were sold, some did not. Listen to me. You had an obligation to tell him that you were also representing other people who were going to be contributing to this book, and in exchange for your curing other people, which the publisher wanted, because I guarantee you, Dr. Phil didn't have to pay $5,000 to get into the book. Chuck Norris didn't have to pay $5,000 to get into the book. Nice-looking man, they don't know who the hell he is. You got to pay the $5,000. It's marketing.
It's marketing, and that's the point. All of the coaching calls that
you
Howard
have
and I
to
had
tell
done.
him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't know what was written there.
I may not ask.
Dr. Howard Richmond says publishing consultant Susan Gilbert scammed him on a book deal.
Can I say this for a second, Bert? Sure. Don't get too involved with it. Let's see. We have people like Dan Kennedy, Cynthia Bull, Brian Tracy, Carol Ann Hamilton. How many people did you represent here, Miss Gilbert?
I represented 4 people.
And did each of those people pay $5,000?
Yes, they did.
Okay, because they were not celebrities.
Absolutely.
Did each of those other 4 people know about the other people?
I did not spell out everything as it's coming out in this courtroom, but Howard knew that I was inviting him in, and I was inviting other people to participate, and I explained how it worked.
You should have explained the whole piece to him. You left out some very important things.
That doesn't take away the benefit that he would have received and all the things that we discussed.
He's not a child, Miss Gilbert.
You're right.
He's not a child. So what you're supposed to do is, if he is retaining you in what I consider an almost quasi-fiduciary relationship, you don't treat him like a child. You give him all the facts and then let him make a judgment. Now, it might have been a wrong judgment for him not to participate in this book. He might have gotten his name in print, so at least he was a published author. But your responsibility to your client, if he was your primary client, was to make sure that he had all the facts. Now, did you get your book published?
Not yet.
You got a possibility?
Of course.
Good. Now, I don't necessarily think Miss Gilbert is dishonest. I think that she didn't realize who her master was. Her master was the person who had hired her to help him publish his book. Quite honestly, Dr. Richmond, in all probability, had you not gotten your money back, because you got your $5,000
No,
back.
I did not.
You did not?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Well, as a matter of fact, when I decided to withdraw from the project and ask the publisher for my money back, on February 25th, the publisher agreed to send me the check that day. I waited. No check. Then I discover my coach, my agent, told her directly not to give me my money back.
How do you know that?
I heard it verbally from the defendant, and also I have an email from the publisher that confirms the conversation.
What did you say to the publisher?
I don't know what was written there.
I'm not asking you what was written here. I'm asking you what you said to the publisher that resulted in the publisher not sending him back his check.
I care very deeply, even though it doesn't appear that it's coming out that way. I care about my coaching clients.
I asked you what you told the publisher.
That I wanted to speak with Howard before he withdrew because I felt he was making a really bad business decision, that everything that he and I had been working towards for months would be helpful in this book release. And so I wanted an opportunity to speak with him.
Well, did you speak to him?
I did, and he still withdrew.
Just a second. Did you then call back the publisher and say?
Multiple times.
And say, give him back his check?
Absolutely. Multiple times I have requested, and I thought that she would. But Dr. Richmond has taken him
But this
to court.
says, yes, I held off sending the check because of my conversation with Susan.
Which is what I said, that I wanted to speak with Howard.
So you never got your money back?
No, Your Honor.
He took them to court and wanted judgment.
Did you get paid?
No.
When did you get your judgment?
June 6th, and I have a copy of that if you would like to see it.
I would.
It's June 1st.
You have any idea why you haven't gotten your money?
Lack of integrity.
Have you called them?
Yes.
And what have they said?
No response. Tried to get the money from the bank account. No money there. Cat and mouse game.
Her client has said, I want my money back. The people are ready to send you your check. You say, don't send him his check. I want to talk to him. That's not up to you.
If he's hired me as his coach, and I feel that he's making a mistake, I'd like to speak with him before that happens.
You had no business speaking to the publisher about him. You don't know who your master is in this situation. You took money from him. You are his advocate.
As I was advocating for him that this was a good project.
He's not a baby. It's up to him to make a judgment as to whether or not he believes that he wants to go forward with this project. You know, Chuck Norris is a very nice man. He says, I don't want to be in a book with Chuck Norris on the cover. I don't know why. I've met Chuck Norris. Got a lovely man. He's got a lovely wife. Their philosophies may be inconsistent. Who knows? That's not up to you. That's up to him. How much did he pay you?
How much did he pay me?
Yeah.
A total of $2,500 over 6 months for 17 sessions. And when I begin to work with someone, Judge
So
Judy,
far, he's out $5,000 plus another $2,500, and he doesn't have a book. And the $5,000 of that $7,500, put it down. $5,000, Miss Gilbert, out of the $7,500 is because of you. Sounds to me like better practice would be not to come in front of 10 million people and tell your story, but to give him back his $2,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There was nothing in the
Soundstress versus Macias. Step forward.
27-year-old Tina Soundtress is suing her ex-boyfriend, 26-year-old Alvaro Macias, for the cost of a digital camera and the accessories. Tina says Alvaro's neglect caused the camera to be stolen.
Miss Saunders, Mr. Macias used to be your boyfriend, then you broke up, then he was your friend, and according to your complaint, you allowed him to borrow a camera of yours.
Correct.
And unfortunately, the camera was lost or stolen while it was in his possession. You want a new camera.
Right.
Mr. Macias says, I offered her a camera, the same kind of camera that she had. She did a different model that's twice as expensive as the one that I borrowed. Is that true?
They don't make the same model as the camera anymore that I
Well,
had.
tell me about the camera that you let him borrow, because clearly he's responsible. The only issue is, what is he responsible for?
Well, I loaned him the camera, a lens, the case, and the memory card.
How much did you pay for it when you purchased it?
It was around $1,200.
You have the receipt?
Yes, I do.
Let me see it.
That's for the camera, and this is for the case. They don't make the same model anymore.
So?
So I wouldn't be able to get the camera, so I feel that I should be allowed the model that replaces my camera.
No, darling. No. Let us say that he borrowed your 1987 Chevy Camaro, and he damaged the car so that you couldn't drive it. But they don't make a 1987 Chevy Camaro anymore. You don't get a 2006 Chevy. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Does that make it simple for you?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, so now I'll hear you.
I do a lot of different things.
I'm not interested in what you do.
All
I'm
right,
interested in the fact that she had a relatively new camera. She lent it to you, either through your own negligence, because if the camera was in your possession at all times, it wouldn't have gotten stolen and it wouldn't have gotten lost.
Yes.
All right. Now, you're not responsible to buy her a brand new Cadillac. You're responsible to replace it or give her the money that she spent for it.
But let me explain to you what happened.
I don't care what happened.
Does it matter what she said to me?
No. She's suing you. You're going to tell me she said, forget it, I don't use it anymore?
Yes.
I don't care. Now, she changed her mind. That's what women do. They change her mind. Men don't ask for directions. Women change their mind.
I work for a newspaper, and I also do a radio show. Me and my business partner went to New York for a conference, all right? It's a Latin rap conference. She's a fan of the music.
I don't care. I don't care. She bought the camera with her own money, and you lost it. Now you have to replace it.
And I did. I worked for a newspaper. We went over there to take all these pictures. I told him, watch the camera. It was the end of an artist showcase. And I went to get all this other stuff.
Listen to me. I'm not interested in how it got stolen and how it got lost. It's your responsibility. How many times do I have to say that?
Okay, but I did. When I got back, I told her what happened, okay? I said, let me figure something out, because it's a lot of money. That's an expensive camera. I had told her, don't get that camera, because it's too expensive, okay? But anyways, that's not the point. I told her I'd figure
Listen to me. Just tell me things that are the point. It's very late and I'm hungry. It's lunchtime.
All right.
So I want you to just tell me the point.
All right, the newspaper I work for, I managed to get them to give me this camera. I have the same exact camera at the newspaper. I talked to them.
Just a minute.
The same exact model.
Listen to me. You have a brand new, same camera that she purchased. Is that what you're telling me?
It's not brand new.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,225. That's all. Get out.
Parties are excused. You may step out with 286 on the calendar in the matter of Foreman versus Green. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Just strangle them both.
Yes.
Yes, sir. The oldest, the youngest, middle, where is he?
My oldest child.
And he's 15?
Yes.
Looks about 15. How old are the younger ones?
I have a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
And how old is this Mr.
Bertram
Charming?
is 15 also.
Your others?
Are 13, 7, and 4.
It's only just begun. Why don't you lovely ladies have a seat while I bring up these two young men in an attempt to interrogate them both. What's your first name?
Keelan. Bertram.
When did this happen in the park?
June 28th, 2005.
Before June 28th, did you know each other?
Yes.
Were you friends?
Yes.
How long had you been friends?
6 years.
Is that right?
Yes, since elementary.
So now who's going to tell me what happened in the park? You want to start, Keelan?
We was out in the park, just a group of us and our friends. We were sitting out there talking. I brought up something that was said. he got mad.
What did you bring up?
It was something that was said about a friend.
And he got angry.
Yes.
So what happened next?
Walked up to me, was like, stop, keep my name out your mouth. Pushed me, I pushed him back.
Push him hard?
Yeah.
And what did he do?
Pushed me back, and then I pushed him, and then we...
So then you're pushing each other back and forth.
Yes.
And then what happened?
We started fighting.
Well, somebody had to throw the first blow. Who was that?
He did.
Where did he hit you?
In my chest.
And then what did you do?
I hesitated, and then he hit me in my eye, and then we started fighting.
Eventually, you got hurt, right?
Yes.
How did you get hurt?
I had a swollen eye, and then my 2 teeth were pushed back.
Because he hit you in the mouth?
Yeah.
And you're wearing braces?
Yes.
And that's what the case is about, your dental bills.
Yes.
All right, Bertram, why don't you tell me your version of these events?
Well, it was June 28th, and we were all at the park playing basketball. And Keelan told another boy, Leroy, our friend, that I was starting rumors about Leroy. And Leroy came to me, like, yelling at me, asking me, was I starting rumors about him? I was like, no, who'd you hear that from? And he was like, Keelan told me that. I walked up to Keelan and I asked Keelan, was he, like, starting rumors about me talking about Leroy? And he didn't give me an answer. So I just looked back at him and we started smiling. And then after that, me and Keelan, we just started play fighting. And then he, like, gave...
Play fighting?
Yeah.
Why don't you describe to me, how did that start?
He stood up and then we just started play fighting.
Go on and tell it. You were play fighting and it escalated.
And then after we started play fighting, he gave me like a big push and I came back. And then that's when I hit him. Then he hit me in my eye, hit me in my left eye. And then I hit him back and then we fell on the floor. And then he walked home and I walked to...
So what you're saying, Bertram, is he hit you first in the eye.
No, he gave me a big push. Then I hit him, then he hit me back.
Where did you hit him?
I hit him I hit him on his face, like right here.
Oh, so you threw the first blow.
Keelan pushed him first.
Shh. I'm not talking about pushing. They did a lot of pushing before this whole thing happened, right?
Yes.
Did you get hurt?
Yeah, he gave me a black eye.
Did you know that?
No.
Do you have a report, a police report, a doctor's report?
No, because I just went home and then I put ice on my eye and then it just came in and then I still had a black eye.
Asked him. I assume you saw your son, Miss Green, on the 28th of June.
Yes.
Tell me what you discussed with him when you saw him.
Bertram came home. He told me that he and Keelan had gotten into a fight. Bertram's eye, I believe it was his right eye, was black. And I told him, I said, put ice on it. It's going to swell up in the morning. You know, it'll be a full-fledged swollen black eye. I didn't think anything of it. These are kids. They've played together on the same popcorn, their football team. And I explained to him that he and Keelan were friends. We live in the same school together. You have to find a way to get along. I didn't think that it was that big of a deal, to tell you the truth.
Okay, Ms. Foreman, step up, please. Ms. Foreman, I want you to assume for the moment that somewhere between these two stories, which are pretty close, somewhere in between is the truth, that they started to horse around, that the horsing around got out of hand, he got a black eye, and he got a bloody mouth, and his mouth was injured because he has braces. I want you to assume that, right?
No.
No, listen to me. I'm telling you that I want you to assume that's true.
Okay.
Do you think that that warrants a lawsuit?
For the medical damage that was done to my son.
You pressed charges on my son.
Listen.
Your Honor, these children have known each other for a long time. Bertram has also known that my son had been treated with braces for over 2 years.
They're right in the middle of a fight, madam. They're 15 years old. Their testosterone is flying. He's gotten hit in the face. They're fighting with each other. So what you want Bertram to do is to say, listen, I'm going to hit him, but I'm not going to hit him near his face because he wears braces at 15?
No,
is that what you're saying?
At all. Period.
Of course they shouldn't have been fighting at all. I'm not suggesting that they should have been fighting. All I'm saying to you is they were fighting with each other. I can't justify fighting with each other on either side. Unfortunately, your son got the worst of the bargain because he wears braces. But he had a black eye. I absolutely believe his mother when she said he had a black eye. Got a black eye from the fight. Your son just got the worst of the bargain.
Well, Your Honor, I don't think that it was just a fight. I think that Bertram intentionally did hit my son in the mouth. Like I said, he's been knowing my son. He's known my son wears braces.
Keelan.
Yes.
Do you think that Bertram purposely hit you in the mouth because you were wearing braces?
I don't know. It's just that we was fighting, so...
I didn't ask you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Well, then don't do it again.
Okay.
We were fighting, so we wasn't really caring where we hit each other at.
Right. You understand that. I understand that. We just have to convince your mother of that. He didn't mean to get him in the mouth because he knew he was most vulnerable there. They're two 15-year-olds who got a little bit out of hand. That doesn't, Ms. Foreman, warrant a lawsuit. And it really shouldn't require a police report, which I gather was done.
Now, my baby has a juvenile record for assault, which
Well,
the DA threw out, but is still on his juvenile
Well,
record.
that's very unfortunate. I assume this is the first time that you had that sort of an incident.
Yeah.
Is that right? That's very unfortunate and really, Ms. Foreman, totally unnecessary. This was a fight.
I don't think that it was not unnecessary. I think that these children do need to be responsible for their actions.
Listen to me. I'm telling you, Miss Green, I'm not going to deal with you anymore. You can step out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Out!
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Keelan Foreman says friend, 15-year-old Bertram Wells, punched him in the mouth, almost knocking out his teeth.
They both have to be responsible for their actions. What I'm telling you is they were fighting. He got a black eye. He got a bloody mouth. He didn't intend to cause him serious physical injury. They were in the midst of a park fight.
Okay, but the defendant's son started this fight with my son. My son had to defend himself.
I don't think that that's true at all. I think that they started horsing around and it got out of hand. That's what happened. And I'm really sort of shocked knowing that these two boys look like two nice young men and two respectful young men. And I assume neither one of them have any sort of a criminal history. For you to have made a police report about it so that while the district attorney dismissed the case and refused to file it, it's still on some record is, to me, a little outrageous, Ms. Foreman. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We didn't have to take it this far. All we had to do is just talk it over, shook hands.
My son was injured, and I felt that Bertram assaulted my son.
I should have just kept my mouth shut. I shouldn't have said nothing.
They got into a fight. It was mutual combat. It's over with. And
Case number 417 on the calendar in the matter of Grimes versus Gray. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Ms. Grimes, it is your complaint that Mr. Gray, whom you had never met, caused you physical injury and also broke your cell phone when you were trying to help him. He appeared to be in some sort of predicament.
Correct.
Mr. Gray says that it is impossible, knowing his character, that he could have done anything like that. You work in a restaurant?
Yes.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Basbo Pizza.
And what do you do there?
I'm a waitress.
On what date did this incident occur?
September 17th of 2005.
Ever had an incident like this before?
No.
Tell me what happened, please.
As Matt Jones, my coworker, and I were exiting the restaurant, we noticed a gentleman coming down the alley, stumbling and bleeding from his head and screaming on a cell phone.
That would be this gentleman?
Yes. As a result, Matt and I decided that it was imperative that we help him. So Mr. Jones went over to lead him over to us to assist him. And in the process, Mr. Jones asked me to go ahead and get a chair for him to sit down in. And in the meantime, I was on my cell phone.
Okay, you're both outside now.
Correct.
Did you go inside the chair?
No.
What happened?
There was a chair already outside.
Where?
Outside the back door of our restaurant.
Is that where people go to sit down and relax during breaks and
Yes.
stuff? Okay, so
Yes.
you're all in the alleyway.
Correct.
Okay.
And so then I was calling on my cell phone inside to have the restaurant reopen so we could go inside and get him towels and things to assist him while he was bleeding.
What time was this?
This was probably around 11:30, 12 o'clock.
At night?
Yes, on a Saturday evening.
Go ahead.
And so I was on my cell phone to call inside for help, and as Matt Jones walked Mr. Gray up, he, instead of sitting in the chair, kicked the chair as hard as he could, therefore hitting me in the arm, the head, and dropping my cell phone to the ground, and it's smashing.
What kind of injuries did you sustain?
I had a really big bruise on my right arm, and I had a bump on my head, which then caused headaches for about 3 days afterwards.
What I read in your complaint was that the bruise on your arm, which ordinarily, other than being irritating, was a more pressing problem because you had a sleeveless wedding gown that you were wearing the next week.
Yes, it was exactly 1 week prior to my wedding, and as the week continued, the bruise got worse.
Got sort of yellow and icky.
Yes, very much so.
Did Mr. Gray say anything to you at any time?
Not really. He was screaming on his cell phone.
What was he screaming? Could you hear?
I didn't do anything. I don't understand why they did this. He was really intoxicated, so I don't think he really was making sense.
How do you know he was intoxicated?
The way that he was staggering through the alley and just his tone of voice and the things that he was saying, it just didn't make any sense. So it seemed that he had to have been intoxicated.
Did you smell alcohol? Or didn't you get that close?
I don't believe I got that close.
Did you?
Yes.
Stand up, please. Tell me your name.
My name is Matthew Jones.
You also work at the restaurant, Mr. Jones?
Yes, I'm the kitchen manager there.
How close did you get to Mr. Gray?
I actually went up very close to him to assist him into the chair because he needed to sit down.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he was still on his phone. He was completely oblivious to my actions to try and help him to sit down.
Could you tell what he was saying on the cell phone?
I wasn't paying attention. He was bleeding like profusely out of his head.
From where?
From his head, from the top of his head, around this area. And it was coming down. He was wearing a red or like a purple colored shirt, you could obviously tell that he was bleeding very bad.
You smelled alcohol?
Definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Gray, where had you been that evening?
Me and my buddy, we just kind of going around different bars, just having fun. And
So you started bar hopping?
pretty much, yeah.
What time?
9 o'clock.
Had you worked that day?
No.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a diesel mechanic.
You work for a company?
Yeah.
Yes, try yes.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
How did you end up in the alleyway outside this pizzeria?
From what I can remember, I was looking for the restroom, and I thought...
You were looking for the
Yeah.
restroom in what facility?
The bar we were at.
What's the name of the bar?
I don't know what the bar's name was.
Where do you live?
Indianapolis.
Where was this bar?
Broad Ripple.
Is that close to Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Yes would be out of the question, I
Yes.
assume. Had you ever been to this bar before?
Yes.
But you don't remember the name?
I don't... There's so many of them down there.
Well, how many had you been to that night?
Oh, I don't... Probably 2 or 3.
Okay, so tell me, so you're looking for the restroom in this unnamed bar, and?
And I thought the exit door was the restroom. And I walk out, and I noticed it wasn't it, and they wouldn't let me back in.
Just a second. You walked out of the back door.
Yes.
And you realized when you got outside that you went out the wrong door.
Yes.
So what did you do next, sir?
I tried to come back in. The bouncer...
Tried to come back in through which door? The same door that you had just exited.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And the bouncer wouldn't let me back in. He said I have to walk around. I said, all right. So I guess I start walking, and next thing I know, I'm hitting the head, and that's the last thing I remember.
Who were you talking to on the phone?
It was a girl.
Who? Name?
Stephanie.
Are you making that up?
No.
Stephanie has a last name? Dumb? Stephanie Dumb?
No, can't remember her last name.
What's her phone number?
I don't know that.
Well, you knew it by heart, evidently.
Well, it was in my cell phone, and...
What'd you call her for?
I don't know, just to call her.
You're bleeding.
Well, see, I was on the phone as I was going out the back door.
Ah, okay. Well, that's more interesting, Mr. Gray. So you were on the telephone, going to the bathroom.
Yes.
But went out the back door, talking to Stephanie, whose last name you don't remember, whose phone number you don't know, about what you don't know. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
So my question to you, Mr. Gray, is were you intoxicated or not?
Yes, I was drinking. Yeah.
Oh, fine, because your answer said I wasn't drunk. I had a concussion.
I wasn't drunk.
What?
But I was not drunk, but yes, I had been drinking.
Were you arrested that night?
Yes, I was.
For what?
Public intox.
You think the police officer made a mistake?
I guess not, no.
So you don't remember what you did to Miss Grimes?
No, at that time, no. I still don't remember to this day.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
People get stupid.
She was assaulted by Stephen Gray while trying to help him out. Mary claims Stephen was drunk and injured from a fight.
Now, do you think she's telling me the truth?
I would hope so.
Did she discuss with you replacing her cell phone?
No, I've never spoken.
Is that right?
That's correct.
How come you didn't try to contact him and ask him to resolve this before you came to court?
I didn't actually know how to get a hold of him, and in addition to that, I didn't really know, under the circumstances,
What kind
if I
of
would
nut
get
he
things
was.
replaced or not.
Was the cell phone broken?
Yes.
Do you have a bill for it?
Yes,
I'd like to see it.
And I also have the broken cell phone, if you'd like to see that.
I don't need to see it.
Okay.
I believe you. Have any photographs of your injuries or any medicals?
Yes.
I'd like to see that too.
And that is after having a makeup artist cover the with makeup on my arm. So
Head cleared up okay.
yes, had headaches for about 3 days, and so did my husband Gary, unfortunately, as a result of all of this.
Sympathy headache?
Sympathy headache,
For
sure.
dealing with me for the week. Yes.
Better remember that when you decide to start a family.
We have 2 children, so.
You have 2 children?
Yes. He's a wonderful father, that's why.
Oh, well, wonderful. Did you have sympathy pains then, too?
Oh, yes.
And sympathy weight gain.
Sympathy weight, too.
Well, Mr. Gray, you know why you're a very lucky man, sir?
What's that?
Because Miss Grimes is a very reasonable lady. She's only suing you for $500. You think that's reasonable?
Yes.
I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. People get stupid when they drink too much. Sometimes you get away with it your whole life. Most people don't. They end up either hurting themselves or hurting somebody else. You've had a very limited exposure to what can happen if you drink too much. And maybe you can't drink just a little bit. Maybe you just will always drink too much.
Yeah.
But she could have been seriously injured if the chair, instead of hitting her in the arm and over here, hit her in the eye, it could have knocked out her eye. We would have been in a totally different place. You could have been dumb enough to get behind the wheel of your car and killed a child. There are all kinds of things that happen when you drink too much. It's not worth it.
No.
Just not worth it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I probably did it.
Huff versus Wright. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Ms. Huff, you work in a club or a bar?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is you. The defendant became an unruly patron in that bar. He went outside during some sort of conflict with the police.
Yes.
He fell up against your car.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And was, I don't know, sort of out of his mind with booze and whatever else. And he dented your car.
Yes.
You want him to pay for the damage.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Wright has an explanation of sorts. He said it is really not his fault because the reason he fell on the car was because the police tasered him. That caused him to fall back, hit his head. So if you want your car repaired, he said either go to the police, right?
Yes.
Or go to the club or bar where you work because they should have had better security, right?
Yes.
You know, I'm going to get to the ultimate issue of whose fault it is that her car, which you have to acknowledge, Mr. Wright, it was just sitting there, wasn't doing anything to you, right?
Right.
And you acknowledge that you fell up against her car.
Yes.
So I don't even have to go to the plaintiff. I'm going to come directly to you.
Okay.
Good. Where is this club located?
In Atlanta, Georgia,
What time did you arrive there that day?
about 12:30.
In the evening.
Yeah.
And on what date was this?
November 19th.
It's my husband's birthday. All right, so you got to the club about midnight.
Yes.
Did you come alone or you with other people?
I was with a group of people.
How many people?
3
Men, women?
men
Where had you been prior to 12 o'clock?
at one of my friend's house.
Which friend?
The guy I went to the club with.
He has a name.
Yes.
What's his name?
Simon.
What time had you arrived at his house?
About 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Did you go there alone?
Yes.
What were you doing at his house from 9 o'clock until midnight?
Watching TV.
Did you have anything to drink?
No.
Nothing.
Nope.
Have anything to do anything else with?
Nah, man.
So you were just hanging around. Now, what prompted you to go out to the club?
I had 2 days off, so I just wanted to go party, enjoy myself.
And what did you start to drink when you got there?
Heineken's.
How many did you have?
About 2.
Just 2.
Yeah.
So you weren't drunk.
No, I wasn't drunk.
Tell me what happened.
I got a competition with the club owner because he kicked me out the club and then kicked the other person out the club
Why did he kick you out of the club?
because me and this guy had a little argument in the club.
Well, tell me about that, Mr. Wright.
I'm sitting at the bar. The guy comes up to me, and I guess he pushes on me, so I pushed him back. So my friends got up and, well, they pushed him. They tangled for a little while. They threw liquor on his face and stuff like that. And then the guy come to me and said it was my fault, so he kicked me out the club.
Did you follow all that?
I caught it all.
Just to recap,
Okay.
you're sitting at the bar doing nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody comes up and sort of pushes you.
Rub up on me, yeah.
What do you mean rubs up on you? He was trying to get past you, he was trying to order a drink. What was he trying to do?
Walking. He pushed up on me.
He was walking?
Yes.
You saw this?
Yes.
Tell me what you saw.
Okay. First of all, he didn't come to the bar around like 12:30 because my shift started at 9 o'clock. And the reason why I first, noticed him is because he tried to holler at me. And I got him a Heineken. Holler at me in the manner, speaking of, he tried to ask me my name and try and get to know more about me so he could, take me out or something like that. And he did not just have 2 Heinekens.
Just a second, what time did he get there, Ms. Huff?
He got there around, I would say, like 10:30 because the bar was just getting thick. And
what?
It was just getting thick. Like, there was just getting to be a lot of people in there. Around 10:30, 11 is the best time to come. And I personally served him at least 2, and then I transferred him to another waitress. So, no, he did not just have only 2 Heinekens.
Okay. Tell me what you observed, if this pushing, rubbing, shoving match that he and his friends were involved with.
Okay, he was standing in the pool area, and I guess the guy had brushed by him.
This kind of pool?
Yeah, plain pool. And the guy had brushed by him, and his reaction was aggressive. It was like, man, get up off of me. And then the guy that he was saying that to that just brushed by him caught attitude back with him. And then they just started brawling. And that's when the bouncer, Red, came and got him and tossed him out. And he's like, oh, let me back in the club, let me back. He's arguing with Red, and Red's like, I'm not going to let you back in. You know what I'm saying? You're causing a disturbance. I'm not going to let you back in. And he was like, man, F this club. I'll shoot up this place and da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay. And that happens once in a while. So I've gotten used to it to the point where if it's sad, but that's why I don't work there anymore. But
so at that point, somebody called the police?
Yes, the manager called the police.
Now, where are you at this point, Mr. Wright? In the parking lot?
Yes.
When you were put out of the club, were you trying to get back inside?
No.
You didn't say, let me back in?
Nope.
So Ms. Huff is lying?
Yes.
And she's lying about the fact that you got there between 10:30 and 11?
Yes.
And she's lying about the fact that you had substantially more than the 2 beers that you testified to before?
She's not lying about that. I probably had more.
Oh, well, so how many beers do you think you had?
I had 2 beers probably in a mixed drink.
2 beers and 1 mixed drink?
Yeah.
Maybe 2?
Maybe 2.
And what kind of mixed drinks do you drink?
Hennessy and Coke.
Well, then you're sure that you were having something else other than the 2 beers?
Yeah.
Okay. You do recognize the authority of the bouncer to put you out of the club, don't you?
Yes.
So if you were put out of the club, you would have gone peacefully?
Yes.
Was your friend put out of the club, too?
No.
Just you?
Just me.
Somebody doesn't like you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's lying.
Her car was parked outside a nightclub when it was dented by Roberto Wright. Roberto says the damage occurred when he was wrongfully tasered by police.
Okay. So you were just outside and you were going to find a cab or something to take you home?
Yes.
Is that what you were going to do? You were trying to find a cab? See how I'm helping you, Mr. Wright.
Actually, I was waiting for my friends to come outside.
Where were you sitting and waiting?
I was in front of the club.
Did they come out before the police arrived?
Yes.
What happened when they came outside?
They was telling me just relax and don't worry about it.
Well, why would they tell you to relax and don't worry about it if you weren't upset? And you recognized the authority of the bouncer to put you out of the club? Why would your friends have...
Because I didn't think it was right what he did.
Well, tell me what happened when the police arrived.
The police came and told me to shut the F up and get out in front of the club.
They told you to be quiet?
Nah, not be quiet, shut the F up.
Well, I don't have to repeat that, but okay. In effect, they told you to be quiet because you were making a lot of noise.
Yes.
Well, why were you making a lot of noise, sir, if you accepted the authority of the bouncer to put you out of the club and were just waiting quietly for your friends? Why would the police tell you to be quiet?
I wasn't making a lot of noise. I was just...
What kind of noise were you making?
I was just mad, like furious.
You were furious?
Yes.
Oh, now we're getting to it. So here we go. They're furious.
Yes.
Now, what were you doing to display the ferocity of your anger?
I was just walking back and forth, talking to myself.
Were you talking to yourself in a loud voice?
Yes.
And, Mr. Wright, what were you saying to yourself?
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Were you stomping your feet?
Nah. Just walking back and
So when the police told you to be quiet or whatever else they said to impart that to you, what did you do?
I wasn't talking to him. I just kept talking to the person that owned the bar.
What were you saying to him?
I want my money back, and it's not fair.
What money?
The money that I spent in the club and the money that I paid to get in the club.
But you know, you didn't behave in the club.
So kick both of us out. Why you kick me out alone?
Well, sometimes life isn't fair, sir. When you do the wrong thing, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So somebody tasered you.
Yes.
Who was that?
The cop.
And you weren't aggressive with the policeman.
No.
And when he tasered you, you fell back.
Yes.
Do you have pictures of the dent on your car?
Yes, I do. And he's lying about not being aggressive with the cop because the police officer that actually tasered him is here, and he has video of the incident.
Oh, really?
That's part of the incident. So.
Oh, I'd like to see that. Let me just take a look at these pictures. Now, Mr. Wright.
Yes.
You would agree that if you were being out of control and if you were being aggressive, that the police had the right to taser you?
No.
So you think you have the right to be out of control and aggressive, and there be no consequence to that?
I get arrested, but not to get tasered.
Well, if you were out of control, sir, why would the police want to risk their safety by trying to arrest you while you were being aggressive?
It wasn't that crazy and aggressive.
You weren't?
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy were you?
Probably like a 5.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Wright, if you were like a 5,
Yeah.
then I don't think the police officers have to risk their safety by trying to subdue you without help. What's the police officer's name?
Officer Morgan.
Would you bring Officer Morgan in? Who is this gentleman?
This is my fiance, Ibrahim.
He wasn't there that day.
No, but
just
okay.
He wasn't there. Bird, would you swear the witness, please?
Officer Morgan, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth in these matters?
Yes, sir.
Officer Morgan, did you respond to the premises where the plaintiff is employed on the 19th of November, 2005, sometime after midnight?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Approximately what time did you respond?
It was about 1:30.
Was that as a result of a call to 911?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you alone or with a partner?
I was by myself, ma'am.
When you responded, can you tell me what you observed?
Well, when I first heard the call go out, it wasn't originally dispatched to me, but I was in that area working traffic, so I decided to go ahead and go over there. When I first arrived, I observed Mr. Wright here and a couple other guys out front and some of the security guys out front.
What were they doing?
Well, Mr. Wright, he was cussing and using profanity, and there was another gentleman that was with him. He was using profanity, and I just calmly walked over to one of the bouncers there that I know and said, asked him what was going on. He said these guys had been in an altercation in the club, whatnot, and he had asked them to leave, and he couldn't get them to leave. So I said, okay, I'll get him to leave. So I called to Mr. Wright, and I said, hey. And he just ignored me, continued to be loud, use profanity, the F word. A second or two later, I called to him again, and I did this a couple times, and he just ignored me. He made eye contact with me a few times, but he just ignored me. So finally, in a loud voice, I called to him, hey. He turned and looked at me and said, don't holler at me, and started cussing me. And there was probably 10 people outside the club at this time, patrons coming out also, trying to leave. His friend was there. So I realized that it had reached a point where Mr. Wright wasn't going to leave on his own. And I told him that if he didn't leave, that I'd take him to jail. If you ain't taking me to jail, so on and so forth. At that time, I told Mr. Wright he was under arrest. Mr. Wright's friend, I think, realized the seriousness of it at this point and was trying to get Mr. Wright to leave. And he wouldn't leave. I ain't leaving, I'm not leaving, I want my money, I'll shoot this place up, so on and so forth. Things continued to spiral downhill pretty quick. I'm issued a taser by my department, so I pulled it from its holster and I turned it on. When I turn the taser on, it has a power button here, I turn it on, and from the front it emits a light, and there's also a red laser beam. Placed that laser beam on him, I told him he was under arrest and for him to get on the ground.
Well, what happened next?
I kept telling him several times, get on the ground, get on the ground. His friend got in front of him to block him. Of course, every other person there was scattering. But Mr. Wright continued to be aggressive. His friend wouldn't get off of him, so I kicked his friend in order to get him away. And then Mr. Wright said, don't you, kick my friend. And he took about 4 steps towards me. And when he did that, I discharged the taser
and a taser shoots 2 probes, and 1 probe was in his upper shoulder and 1 probe hit in his lower abdomen. It distributes about 50,000 volts. It's a low amperage of electricity, but it has high volts, and it incapacitates you.
So he fell into the car?
He did.
Okay. Was he arrested?
He was arrested.
For what?
Disorderly conduct and obstruction.
Was he given a sobriety test?
Not per se like you would do in a DUI case. But I can tell you this, Judge. I've worked DUIs for 5 years. I've seen countless number of people under the influence of alcohol. Mr. Wright was under the influence of alcohol that night. He had a strong odor coming from his breath. His eyes were bloodshot and watery. From his aggression, all those things are consistent when I deal with people under the influence of alcohol.
Okay. There's a tape there.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Huff says that somehow this incident was taped. How was it taped?
From the in-car camera on my patrol vehicle.
Oh, great. Can I see it, please?
Judge, just for the court, it is a little bit explicit, but in the heat of the moment, things like that happen. So I do apologize for that.
Turn over. Get on your stomach. Turn over. I'll bust you again. Turn over. Put your hands out where I can see them. Yeah, I got one on the table. Thank you. Get it down. Cuff him. Come at me. That's how you do it. You understand me?
Was this after or before he was tasered?
This is after, Judge. If you can see there in the video, I'm holding the taser in my hand, and you can see the wires that are connected from here to the probes that are in his body. He's still connected.
So you come at me. I told you you were under arrest, and to get on the ground, and you kept running your mouth.
Judge, you can kind of see the wires dangling there. That's the wires from the taser.
You charged at me. That's why you got shot. I don't care where you're from. I don't care where you're from either. I told you don't charge me. I'm clean. I got no record of nothing. I'm clean. You do now. I told you to back away from me and not charge me. I told you you were under arrest.
I got a cop that's from officer. It's all good, man. We going down. Come on, man. I ain't do nothing to him. He shot me for no reason.
I told you were under arrest to get on the ground and you want to charge me.
Okay, give me the car then, man. I don't want to hear no talking, man. You got to do what you did. I don't got no drug on me, no gun on me. Search him if you want to. I know you, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, man. Come on, man. That's just crazy, man. Carolina? From New York, man. Out of here, man.
All right, Mr. Wright, somebody has to be responsible for Miss Huff's car. The person who caused the damage to her car physically was you, because you fell into her car. Now, the question is, was Officer Morgan's actions, in my judgment, based upon what I've heard today, a reasoned response to what he saw when he got to the club? And when he got to the club, he saw you, who finally acknowledged that you were told to leave, you didn't leave. You walked up and down, talking to yourself and cursing. Your friends came outside. According to Officer Morgan, your friend tried to get you to leave. You still didn't leave. When you're given a direct command by a police officer who's involved in his lawful responsibility, you're supposed to follow it. But if you were out of control, he has a responsibility to protect himself. So in my judgment, the person who was responsible for the damage to her car was the person who was acting irresponsibly that night. And the person who was acting irresponsibly that night was you. Somebody brushed by you in a club, and because you'd had a little too much to drink, you overreacted, and you confronted them over nothing. And you probably wouldn't have done it if you hadn't had too much to drink, but you started a brawl inside the club. So you've got to pay for Miss Huff's car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,400. Thank you.
Parties are
Yes, sir.
excused. You may step out.
She did her thing.
Case number 453 on the calendar in the matter of Wright versus Peters. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Not him.
Okay, not you.
You're his mother? No, you sit down. You're his mother?
Yes, I am.
Who's going to speak? You or the father?
The father.
I am.
Perfect. Then you can sit down.
Okay.
You take your mother's place. What's your first name?
Keith.
Mr. Wright, your son was arrested as a result of a complaint filed by Mr. Peters.
Yes, ma'am.
And he filed the complaint alleging that your son had sort of terrorized his son. At the time of his arrest, he was allowed to go home.
Yes.
From what I gather, he was subsequently arrested for robbery.
Yes.
And when he was arrested for the robbery, the court looked, according to you, looked at this pending charge against him that involved Mr. Peters' son and decided that he was a threat to the community and put him in jail.
Yes.
And you claim that the reason that he was put in jail were the false charges filed by Mr. Peters and his son, alleging some sort of terrorizing of his boy, and that but for that charge, he wouldn't have been put in jail.
Correct, and I also have appeal on the bike case, too.
I don't care whether you have an appeal pending on the bike case, but the fact that you just told me that there was an appeal pending on the bike case suggests to this very, very astute legal mind that he was found guilty on the bike case.
Correct.
Aha!
Correct.
What was he found guilty of?
Unarmed robbery.
Unarmed robbery.
Yes, ma'am.
Taking property by force.
Correct, ma'am.
How many times have you been arrested, Keith?
3 times.
Don't speak unless I speak to you. You get it?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times have you been arrested?
3 times.
First time?
The bike.
First time was the bike. Don't speak. When was that?
I don't really, remember. It was, 3 years ago, maybe.
What was the next arrest for?
I don't remember.
What was the next one for?
I don't remember.
You've been arrested 3 times and you don't remember what you were arrested for? You know what
Wait,
that's
the first time was Bob's store thing. I didn't get arrested for it. I just had to go to court for it.
They sent your father an invitation?
Yeah.
Was for what?
Stealing shoes at Bob's store.
Larceny.
Yeah.
Try yes.
Yes.
All right, so first we have a larceny. Then we have a, you don't remember, and then we have another don't remember?
Well, the bike incident and...
The bike incident, the bike robbery.
And then this one, this charge.
Now, what happened with the theft, the larceny from Bob's shoe store?
When I went to court, I admit to it, and then they just made me pay for the shoes, and I got to keep them.
Who paid for the shoes?
I did.
Out of what?
Working with my dad.
What did you work at?
Fence installing.
What grade are you in school?
I dropped out.
Because you think you're too smart?
No, not at all.
Well, then what caused you to drop out?
Because of all the drama, that's going on. I don't know. I couldn't concentrate with all this stuff.
So what do you do all day?
Work.
With your father?
Yes.
Does he work every day with you?
No, ma'am.
How often does he work with you, Mr. Wright?
I'm laid off right now. We actually don't work at all. I do have people that call and use him once in a while to, do
So what does he do all day?
He's supposed to, actually...
No, I don't think what he's supposed to. I asked you what he does all day.
Nothing. But I am talking to my boss about starting in March with me.
Who feeds him?
His mother and I.
Does he sleep in a bed?
Yes, ma'am.
Who does his laundry?
He does his own laundry.
With whose machine?
Ours.
And whose soap?
Ours.
And when he goes into his room, does he have a television?
Yes.
And whose?
Ours.
You know how long I tolerate that? Not for a second.
There's a lot more behind this than meets the eye, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, that may be. I'm not going to go into it because I'm sure you don't want to go into all the things that I can't see.
Yes, ma'am.
But right now I have a couple of parents who are allowing this bum to do nothing, to drop out of school, 16-year-old boy who required a little prodding to tell me the nature of his 3 arrests. And you know what I usually surmise when someone can't remember what the nature of the 3 arrests are like that when you're 16 years old? That you've committed a lot more things that you could have been arrested for, and you just can't remember. Do you understand that?
I agree. He does have a memory problem, though, I mean.
No. He has a criminal problem. You're 16 years old, and you've been arrested 3 times. That's 3 people who you say made a mistake.
I have transcripts of the trial. I mean, there was no evidence of the bike thing.
That's 3 people that made a mistake.
Yes. I know exactly what you're saying, Your Honor.
Now, what's your first name?
Eric.
How old are you, Eric?
14.
How do you know him?
I used to hang around a little bit with him.
Did your father at some point tell you not to hang around with him?
He told me not to hang around with the other kid that I used to hang out with Keith.
What was his name?
Frankie.
Who's Frankie?
The other kid that was in it with me. Like,
The other kid that was in it with you. Well, that's honest. Was Frankie also arrested for this robbery of the bicycle?
no.
It was just you.
It was me and one of my other friends,
Whose name is?
Rodriguez.
Was he also found guilty?
Yes.
Okay. Your father says that he came home from work one day and found a pellet gun in your house. Is that right?
Yes.
What day was that?
It was August 3rd, 2003.
And did you ask your son whose pellet gun it was?
Yes.
What did you tell your father?
It didn't belong to me. It belonged to Frankie.
And what did your father say to you?
That he's going to call the police.
Was it Frankie's pellet gun? No, look at me. Don't look over there. Was it Frankie's pellet gun or somebody else's?
It was Frankie's, I believe.
Listen, don't play with me. Who else's pellet gun could it have been?
No one else's.
How did it get into your house?
They came over.
Who?
Frankie and Keith.
What time did they get to your house?
I don't remember. It was in the afternoon.
You were home alone?
Yes.
Had they been in your house within the week prior to that?
Yes.
So, they were used to coming to your house in the afternoon.
I wouldn't say used to, but they've...
And you let them in?
Yeah.
You didn't call the police, did you?
Not when they came at the door.
No, you let them in and you let them hang out.
Yeah, they were my friends.
Well, then there came a time after that date on August 3rd that you or your father called the police and made a police report about what happened.
Yes.
Can I see the police report, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the date of the offense here is listed as August the 6th, not August the 3rd. What happened 3 days after your father found the pellet gun?
I don't remember.
Did you tell the police that you were threatened by Keith Wright? He threatened to kill you, and that he assaulted you with a paintball gun and beat you? Did you tell that to the police?
Yes.
Was that true?
No, it was not.
Why did you tell them that?
I was scared.
Scared of who?
Everyone.
What do you mean scared of everyone? That's ridiculous.
I was
You're
scared of my dad, the police. I was
All
scared
right,
of
so you were
Keith.
scared first of your father.
Yeah, what he might do to me.
Might do to you for what?
Maybe still hanging around with Keith and Frankie when I shouldn't have.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The first thing that I...
And his father, Bill, claim Eric Peters and his son, Eric Jr., are responsible for their legal bills. The Wrights say Eric Jr. lied to police, claiming Keith threatened to kill him.
When did your son finally tell you that he had lied to you, sir?
When we went to court in Fall River, Massachusetts, we were subpoenaed as witnesses for the prosecution. And that's when he told me basically what really happened.
Which was what?
When they came to the door, I let them in. Then we went into the parlor, and then they showed me the pellet gun or whatever it was. And we hung out for a little while. They left, and my dad was looking for my house key because I lost it. And he looked under, he picked up the couch, and he found it laying in the middle of the floor.
What were you doing with this gun?
Well, me and
Well is not an answer.
me and a kid, Frankie, were hanging out. And I guess he let him borrow his PlayStation 2. So we were going to return the PlayStation 2.
You needed armed protection for that?
No, I didn't know anything about the gun. As far as I know, it was there.
Whose gun was it?
I don't know.
What were you doing with a paint gun?
That had nothing to do with the...
Tell me what this paint gun looks like.
It's like this big and it's all plastic and has like I don't know, like cock back or something.
May I, Your Honor?
Yeah.
The police showed up at our house. They asked me if there was any guns in the house. I invited them in. I didn't know where Keith was at the time. I called my wife's cell phone at that time, and she didn't answer. I left a message. She needed to call me right away. The police were here. They were looking for Keith. The police asked me if there was any guns in the house. I told them that we didn't have guns in the house. I said, but when there was a property I took care of up in Carver, Mass. for 5 years, I said, Keith stayed with me for a while. He did have a paintball gun. So the officer asked, can you go get that for me? My wife brought him home. Me and him both looked for the paintball gun in the cellar, and we found it, and we brought it back to the police.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I say something? Police officer came to my house to take the statement. I gave the police officer the gun that was in my house. And it was not a paintball gun. It was...
No, I'm not saying that it was a paintball gun, so there's no indication it was a paintball gun. The gun that was in your house. There is also no indication where the gun came from. You understand?
I understand.
You know, he's a fibber.
I understand that.
Did you hire a lawyer as a result of the arrest with regard to this charge?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did you pay that lawyer?
It was $2,500, but if it didn't go to trial, we'd get $500 back, and that's what we did.
Now, he was arrested on this charge on or about August 6th.
Yes, ma'am.
When was he arrested for the bike incident?
I can look at it. I got the police report of that, too, if you want.
I'd like
look?
to see it.
Okay. He was actually in my house, grounded at the time of this. I swear to God, ma'am. There's a police report of the... Thank you. Do you want the copies of the checks?
No.
Okay.
I believe you.
I think it was like 6, 7 days afterwards, I think.
It was.
If you notice the date on that, I actually cooperated with the police fully. At first, he said to me that the boy's stories were kind of fishy, and he wasn't going to press charges unless he had to. He called me about 2 weeks later, and he said to me that the mother was making a lot of noise, and that...
Listen to me. The complainant was the victim of a robbery.
Yes,
the victim in the bike case.
Yes.
Was...
Yes, ma'am.
And there is no question in my mind that the way that his bike was taken, the way that it was taken was the way he indicated, which was he was on his bike.
Not testified in
He
the
was on
transcript
his
for that.
bike. Nobody showed a gun or a knife or anything else, but they threatened him.
According to the transcripts, nobody threatened him. The two boys testified, nobody threatened him.
That they just got off and gave them the bike.
Well, no, they said...
That they just got off and gave them the bike.
Nope, that didn't happen either, of course.
Of course. They felt threatened.
I'm sure they did.
Right. So the complainant gave one of these two boys the bike because one of them was on a bike and one was riding on the back.
Yes.
The one that was riding on the back took off with his bike.
Yes.
Well, your son says no.
Well, because he wasn't there.
He was there. You say he wasn't there. I'm telling you he was there, and I'm going to tell you something else. In all probability, the appellate court's going to say he's there, so you better get used to it. It's common sense to me that when someone is a robbery victim, usually they want the right person to be apprehended because they feel as if the right person is apprehended, maybe they can get their property back. The thing that I read with some interest with regard to this police report that you gave me was that the perpetrators, or at least one of them, him, was known to the victim by name. They weren't friends, but he knew him. Didn't know the name of the other boy, knew him by a street name, but knew his name. So it wasn't a case of mistaken identity. So I have to say that you want to show me something? I'm going to read it, sir.
Will you read the briefs, please?
I'm not going to read the briefs, sir. No. You have something in the transcript that you want to show. I'm not going to read the briefs the way your lawyer slanted it. If you want me to read part of the transcript, it'll be my pleasure.
Can I have you read something from the DA's brief that actually is the part that's slanted?
Oh, sure, absolutely. If you have something from the DA's brief?
Well, they say that my son chased these kids down, strategically positioned himself in for this other kid to steal it, but it was never testified to that. That was never said.
Mr. Wright, you better get your head out from where it is and get straight. Listen to me, and get straight. He's barking up a very, very bad tree. He's barking up a dead tree.
I'm trying my best to stop
Well, but you know, with regard to this situation, you're absolutely right. You're out $2,000 that you paid to a lawyer because this young man lied, right?
Yes.
Because your son was afraid of what your reaction was going to be. And I don't know whether I believe anything he says about where this gun came from. Not sure. But certainly, he lied with regard to them forcing their way into the house, threatening him, assaulting him, and everything else. And he is definitely entitled to get his counsel fees back.
Thank you.
That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is your son was incarcerated because he committed a robbery for which he was found guilty, for which in all probability, and I didn't hear the case, he was guilty. And you should stop making excuses for him. The first thing that I would do is if he wants 3 meals a day, he better get into school, get him into a GED program. It's unhealthy and unnatural for a 16-year-old boy to sit around doing nothing but watching television and making trouble. You're feeding him, you're clothing him, you're putting a roof over his head, and he is doing nothing. It's his responsibility to prepare himself to be an adult. And it's your responsibility as his father to make sure that he gets there. So I'm telling you, you're entitled to legal fees back. With regard to your son being incarcerated after he was arrested for the robbery, that's his problem.
In 30 days, we'll know about the appeal, Your Honor.
Listen to me, sir. I wouldn't go out there and make any reservations for a celebratory dinner. Now, the appeal is going to be upheld because he was an accomplice in forcibly taking this young man's bike, because it doesn't make sense for anybody. Doesn't make sense. And there were a lot of excuses here. My son was in the house all day, except for 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes he was out of the house. We could tell you where he was, but I'm not going to tell you right now where he was.
He was home, I swear to God.
Then in the 5 minutes that he wasn't home, he got into trouble, Mr. Wright. And I wouldn't have let him have kept the shoes that he stole from the store years ago, because that was the first sign of trouble. He wasn't a baby. Go ahead.
I had to give them to my family, and they made me earn them.
Let me ask you this question. Was your father working at the time that you stole the shoes?
Yeah, he was working.
Good. And what were you doing? Going to school?
Yeah.
Did you have shoes?
Yes.
What'd you steal the shoes for?
I wanted new ones. I don't know.
What?
I wanted new ones.
Well, you want new ones, then if your parents say, can't afford to buy you new ones right now, say, listen, Dad, can I work for you so that I can make enough money to buy the shoes, right?
Yep.
You don't go and steal the shoes and then say, well, I stole the shoes, I got caught, now I'm going to pay for them, but I'm going to get the shoes anyway. That's not the way it works. But that's the lesson you taught him, if you let him wear the shoes. I would have made him pay for the shoes and then throw them in the garbage. Because the lesson is, well, there is really no consequence. He didn't go to jail. He didn't have his liberty taken away for a day or 2 or 3. He got to keep the shoes. All he did was pay for them. He just did it a little backwards. And did you lose any work?
Absolutely.
Well, how were you compensated with regard to that? Did he pay for that too?
No.
So don't send him the wrong message. You, on the other hand, I don't know how you're dealing with him.
It's been dealt with.
Has it?
Yes.
I have a feeling that that's probably true. Judging for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
I know my son didn't steal.
You and Mr. Spain live together and have 2 children together.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are no longer a couple.
Yes, ma'am. No, we're not.
Despite the fact that you both appear today as plaintiffs. My understanding of this rather complex case is that when you and Mr. Spain separated, Mr. Spain began a relationship with the defendant, Miss Bailey. And he, in fact, moved in with her. According to you, you tried to maintain a civil relationship with both of them, with Mr. Spain for the benefit of the children, and for Miss Bailey just because. But Miss Bailey was not happy with you for some reason, and it is your claim that she vandalized your car. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are suing her as a co-plaintiff with Mr. Spain, who says that Miss Bailey kept some of his personal property when he moved out of the house because they are no longer together. Miss Bailey says that she did nothing to your car. It's actually you who harassed her, you and Mr. Spain. That it was Mr. Spain who damaged your car.
Correct.
And that you slashed her tires, you caused her to lose her job, and she wants from you, Mr. Spain, rent for the time that you were living with her. She has a counterclaim. All right, let's try to put some dates to these facts. Mr. Spain, when did you and Miss Johnson live together?
About 2000 and...
Maybe I'll ask Miss Johnson.
2. We moved in, was about July 2003.
And how old are your children?
My son is 2 and my daughter is 4.
And when did Mr. Spain move out?
He moved out November 23rd, 2004.
Why?
Because of our differences. It wasn't working out.
When did you move in with Miss Bailey?
About I think the 26th.
Of what?
Of November.
You knew her from before?
Yes.
From where?
School.
How come you moved in with Miss Bailey?
Because she had asked me to move in with her.
No. I mean, did you rent a room from her, or were you living together as a couple?
Living together as a couple.
So that while you were with Miss Johnson, you were also...
No. She had...
3 days, sir, you were in somebody else's house.
She had called me on the phone talking to her.
Yeah. When I came home from work, He was on the phone talking to her.
On the 23rd of November?
Yes, ma'am.
So then he moved out and he was living with Miss Bailey. How long did you stay with Miss Bailey, Mr. Spain?
About a month and a half.
Is that right, Miss Bailey?
He moved in November 23rd. He was arrested January the 4th, so that's the last time he lived with me when he got out of jail.
What were you arrested for?
Home invasion.
Burglary?
Nah.
What?
Well, no,
Just
he
kicked in the door.
kicked in her door.
Yeah, he kicked in my door.
You kicked in her door?
Where his kids lay at their heads at night.
Shh. What'd you kick in her door for?
Just jealous, and I was really upset what was going on when I was living with her.
Well, so you were annoyed with Miss Bailey, so you kicked in Miss Johnson's door?
Yes.
It's very logical. Getting too old for this job. All right, Miss Johnson, tell me about the vandalism of your car. When did that happen?
December the 16th.
And you were still living with Miss Bailey, is that right, Mr. Spain?
Yes.
In between the time that they were together, it's been harassing phone calls. I mean, he would call, he would get me upset, he would get me upset, just arguing over our relationship, whatever. Then she would call, and she would play on the phone, repeatedly call, left threatening messages on my voicemail, and I just got, I mean, of course I've defended myself in the argument too, but I guess she got real upset to the point where she wants to come over to my house, and she'd scratch the car.
Well, I want to know, were you home when she scratched the car?
Yeah, I was home, but I was asleep. It happened overnight.
So you didn't see her scratch the car?
No, I didn't see her scratch the car, but I do have a witness with me.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear that witness. Tell me your name, please.
Monica Dykes.
Dykes, did you see on December 16th somebody vandalized Miss Johnson's car?
No, I wasn't with her at the time, but I was at her house. I was spending the night at her house, and she was supposed to go get me something to eat. And
Who was?
Mrs. Bailey. She didn't come back with my food, and I asked her why, and she said because she came in the house with a box cutter, and she said that she had scratched Miss Johnson's car.
Well, how do you know Miss Bailey?
They were going together. This is my brother.
When she came home, she just took out the box cutter and told you? What did she do?
No, she had the box cutter in her hand.
Walked in the door with the box cutter in her hand?
It was in her pocket, and she took it out.
Well, tell me about that. I'm curious about that whole moment when she walked into the house with the box cutter in her pocket.
When she walked into the house, I was like, well, what happened to the Burger King that you're supposed to bring back? She said, well, Burger King was closed, and I just came back from around Mrs. Johnson's house, and I scratched the car up, and I hope she come around here with some... She's lying.
So what did you say to her?
Nothing. I didn't say anything after that.
She's lying. You didn't say, why would you do that?
Well, I asked her why. She said, because she's just been harassing me and all this other stuff.
Did she tell you what she'd been doing to harass you?
She said that Miss Johnson has been calling her house numerous of times.
So they were speed dialing each other.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Miss Bailey, now I'll hear from you.
Thank you so much. First of all, he moved in my home November 23rd of 2004. He moved out because he went to jail for kicking in her door. I was pregnant at the time with his kid. So when he got out of jail, I no longer want him in my home anymore. So while the process he's been in jail, me and Christina Stovall right here took all of his belongings.
I'm not at his claim yet, Miss Bailey.
Oh, okay, well, where are we at?
I'm keying her car.
Oh, okay. This is the night that he got arrested. He came over to my house bragging about keying her car in as well as kicking her door in. Why would I key her car? He kicked the key. I mean, he keyed the car in and kicked the door, and he know he did.
I was there.
If he's gonna kick her door in, he's gonna key her car.
She's lying.
Whatever, you lying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Arthur Spain Jr. claimed Arthur's ex-girlfriend, Tequila Bailey, keyed Kimberly's Pontiac Grand Am. Arthur also says Tequila won't return his belongings.
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see. Step up. Tell me your name.
Christina Stovall.
You said that you were present when Mr. Spain acknowledged that he vandalized Miss Johnson's car?
Yes.
When was that?
January 4th.
Tell me about what he said.
Me and Tequila and her two sisters were in the living room.
He came in through the door. He was sweating, walking around. You could tell he had did something. This is what he said. He said, I keyed in her car, I kicked in her door, and the police is coming. So Tequila said, let's go upstairs and talk about it.
Yeah, but the police report...
He did it at
He did it what?
He did it at 2 different times. When he keyed in her car a couple days before he kicked in her door. But he came in bragging about both of it.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah. He keyed her car. I don't know what he keyed the car in, but the night he got arrested...
Listen to me very carefully. Where did you spend Christmas?
At my house.
Did you see Miss Bailey?
I see her every day, all the
And
time.
what about Mr. Spain? Did you see him?
Yeah, I see him.
Shut up.
I used to go to his candy store. He knows who I am.
Okay. So you know them both, and you saw them between December 16th and January 4th. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you're telling me is on January 4th, he acknowledged keying her car.
Because he came in all nervous.
All right. But the police report is from December 16th. Why in the world would he come in all nervous and hyper and confess to something that he had done on December 16th?
He already confessed to me a long time ago about it.
Because he was scared.
He was bragging.
Sit down.
Okay.
Good. Very good. No, I believe that he kicked in her door, but on December 16th, I believe her when she says that you went out to get her some Burger King and you came back and you keyed her car.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
Nah.
Okay, now, what stuff do you claim that you left at Miss Bailey's home?
A radio, TVs, CDs, DVDs, weights.
Where's all his stuff?
We took 2 trips to her mom and his mom's house, and he knows and she knows. As a matter of fact, I had Matt come get the guns that was in my house. They don't have any permits for.
What kind of guns?
Sawed-offs.
BB guns.
Sawed-offs.
Who is this gentleman?
That's my friend.
What does he have to do with this case?
His weights are in her house.
He helped haul
her
belongings over to her house.
And we hauled it right back. And I don't know if your father did with him, but we hauled it right back.
A few baskets over to his house. This is when he was locked up.
TV returned?
No. And she brought me my shoes, and she brought my shoes, a box full of my shoes, and my remote control was in the box.
What kind of television did he bring to your house? Look at me directly. Don't look at the floor.
I'm looking at you. I don't know exactly what kind of television it was. It was a little black box television.
Where is it?
It's at his mom's house. Me and her took 2 trips to Hallville, Indiana, to give him their stuff. When he got locked up from my house, I got a letter in my mail from my landlord saying that if they find him or anything of his in my house again, I will be in court for eviction because he was not on my lease. So I quickly took all his stuff to his mother's house, all his stuff. He knows it.
She is lying.
Now, Miss Bailey, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me about your counterclaim. You think that Mr. Spain should pay you for rent?
Yes.
What kind of contract did you have with him for your
We didn't
rent?
have anything written down, signed, because when you're supposedly having a relationship, you don't do that. But we have verbal. You're going to pay half on everything. You're not going to stay in my house and lay up and eat, sleep, and not pay nothing on anything.
Miss Bailey.
Yes, ma'am.
We live in a civilized society. So I want you to leave your gutter language outside.
I can do that. That's fine.
And you're going to wait until I'm finished speaking before you open your mouth.
Okay.
You're going to leave your gutter language outside, and you're going to remember where you are. We understand each other?
We do.
Perfect.
Kimberly Johnson and Arthur Spain Jr. claim Arthur's ex-girlfriend, Tequila Bailey, keyed Kimberly's Pontiac Grand Am. Arthur also says Tequila won't return his belongings.
I believe that after he moved out, he wanted money, but I don't believe you had an agreement with him to pay you half of everything.
Next. Somebody can't stay with me.
Listen to me. Next.
First of all, my tires were slashed. I couldn't get to work. I had to call in to get my car fixed. Second of all, they're playing on my phone. He's coming to my job, my new job and my old job, harassing on me on my job.
Well, just a second. What did he say when he came to your job?
I broke up with him. He wants to be with me. He loves me. He wants to be a family. Let's make it work. I don't want to be with you. I want to be family. Go raise your 2 kids with Kimberly.
Just a second. I don't understand you.
What do you mean?
You're talking too fast.
I talk fast all the time. I know. He wants to be with me.
So he came to you telling you that he wanted to be with you, he wanted to be a family.
Making a scene. Yeah, making a scene at work. He wanted to be with me.
And that's why you got fired?
That, and I had to call in because I was pregnant with his child, and while he was in jail. I couldn't work.
You think that he's responsible for you?
Yeah, he helped me make the baby. Yeah.
What?
He helped make the baby. Yeah, he's responsible.
That's not a lawsuit.
It is mine.
It's not one that I'm going to hear.
That's fine, Miss Judge Judy.
It's not one that I'm going to hear. How many children do you have?
I have one.
Okay, so you know how babies are made, right?
I do.
If you don't want to have a baby, then what you do is you take precautions so that you don't have a baby. If somebody moves in with you in December and you get pregnant between December and January 4th, you're not too swift.
Right.
Can I see pictures of your car?
Yes. Yeah, Your Honor, she scratched the whole driver's side, and she also...
Can I just see the pictures of the car?
My boyfriend.
Okay, did you have these scratches taken care of?
No, ma'am.
You have an estimate on how much it's going to cost?
Yes,
to have
ma'am, I do.
Scratches taken care of? That's a reasonable estimate. Listen, there is no question in my mind that the two of you women behaved badly towards each other, right?
Right.
I think Mr. Spain behaved badly, too. Listen, Miss Bailey, don't get in between people. It's always a very bad idea. If someone has a fight with his wife, woman, girlfriend, whatever it is, and if you take him in the day that he had a fight, and then if you make a baby with him, that makes you a smart woman who's not acting too smart, or a stupid woman who's not acting too smart. I don't know which one you are.
I was stupid.
But whoever you are, you owe us $600 to have a car painted. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused.
Your claim that Miss Tarrant, with whom you were briefly involved, owes you money for a car that you purchased for her daughter, and for impound fees later when the car was impounded because her daughter didn't have a driver's license. Ms. Tarrant indicates that both of those things were gifts, and you did not seek any money until after she decided she no longer wanted to be involved in a committed relationship with you. Is that what this case is about?
Yes.
Fine. Where is the car now?
The car is in front of my house now.
You have not sought to have the car returned to you, have you?
No.
Smart lady. Mr. Ford, can you explain to me why this is a relatively new purchase? According to your complaint, the car was purchased for her daughter sometime in February. Correct?
In March.
So it was driven by her for a relatively short period of time. Why don't you just sell it?
The reason why I don't want to sell it, because I'm really not in this business of selling car. I had purchased the car for Elizabeth because she needed a car for her daughter. And it was an understanding, a mutual understanding between us two, and a contract that we had, which she didn't sign.
Well, then I'm not interested in it, sir. My question to you is a very practical one. This is a relationship that clearly was not going anywhere. The only nexus tie that you had to each other was this car. You got the car back, and I understand that you're not in the car business, but I don't know what your losses are.
Well, the car was impound, and she had agreed to pay me for the impound, out of impound, and the only way that I was able to get the car out of impound was that her daughter had to have a driver's license, so they could release the car to me from out of impound. I took her daughter to get a driver's license, and she had a driver's license, and I went to pick up the car from the impound. I incurred losses there. Now, she agreed that she would pay for these losses that I had incurred.
You mean for the impound fees?
For the impound, yes.
That's not unreasonable. What do you do for a living, Mr. Ford?
I'm a barber.
Is it your own business?
Yes, it is.
Then you're a businessman, Mr. Ford, and you appear to be an intelligent person. You may not know a lot about cars. I don't know a lot about cars either. But I know that if I had a piece of property in my possession, in this case a car, and I had the title to it, which you do at this point because she signed it over to you, before I would bring her to court, I would put an ad in the paper, a sign in the window, and I would say I'm going to sell this car and see what I get for it. And then you won't be out any money unless you just wanted to bust her chops. So, Mr. Ford, before you come to court, go sell the car and see if you come up with a shortfall on the money you laid out. Do we understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình, và ngày hôm nay thì chúng ta có một bức tranh về một cô gái và chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau tô màu cho bức tranh này nhé.